and welcome to Watching Worst Films, the podcast in which we journey through Razzie history, watching every Worst Picture winner. This year, we are off to 2018 with the comedy Holmes and Watson, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. My name is Jericho Reed, and with me is my co-host, Kyle Szymanski.
Hello.
Let's jump straight into this. What was your history with Holmes and Watson?
Nothing. I mean, I don't even have much of a history with Sherlock in general. I think I said in the podcast before about how I slept through the Downey Jr. film.
Yeah, you said the Guy Ritchie one saved your life.
It saved my life,
yeah. London streets.
But I've never read any of the books. I've never really watched any media I can think of. It's never been, not Benedict, not Elementary or
Basil
anything.
Rathbone.
Yeah, none of them. I've just never, Lucy Liu, none of them. I've never really had an interest.
You never saw Basil the Great Mouse Detective?
Oh yeah, I've seen parodies, but like I guess this is that's Basil. That's that's different. I mean, I do have a history with Ferrell and C. Reilly and Adam McKay and all that production. So
why haven't you seen this film?
Because well, like I don't know. I think honestly, and it's something I guess we're going to get into. I think the massive negative backlash at the time just was like, and it's 2018 Will Ferrell. I think we touched on this in Ladies Man. You know, this isn't. I mean, I'm a Will Ferrell fan, but 2018, he's phoning them in a lot more.
Yeah, he's Get Hard. He's The Campaign. He's like the remake of Force Majeure. He's he's off the boil. So he's washed, as they say.
So yeah, this is 5 years down the line. I've seen it now, but no interest at the time, and no interest now to watch it if it wasn't for this. But you've seen this, right?
Yeah, I saw this not in cinema, but this came out when I was in Canada, and for some reason I made the time to watch it. I can't recall if I was sick and just not feeling very well, or I was like, you know what, I'll just throw on something that I won't fully focus on. But I have in fact seen this film. And yeah, like the fact that I didn't see it in the cinemas kind of tells you all you need to know, because as we said, like Adam McKay producing, like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, who are previously like, good comedic double act in Step Brothers and Talladega Nights. We've spoken about like films on the podcast that have been like poorly marketed, whereas this almost has like so much going for it. It's a testament that they managed to destroy all interest in it. Yeah, like a film on paper that you'd be like, oh sure, yeah, I'll see that. And then
absolutely, yeah. No, and there's so before we even get started really into it, and before we go into any further about the film, I have notes, but not really. I have thoughts and opinions more than notes on the film, and I think it's more interesting how it will destroy or lead to the destruction, or the last time Ferrell and C. Reilly will probably work together on a major picture is going to be this. So it's kind of a tombstone to their partnership. But yeah,
it's the pissed pants of their relationship.
I also want to add that I watched this over 2 sittings after 12-hour shifts. Yeah. And so like it's a bit of a strange one for me. Like I was watching it and I wasn't quite sure what I was watching. Yeah. You promised me, or you didn't promise me. You told me you 3 laughs, I think is what was your.
I estimated about 3 laughs. Yeah.
I think I laughed. I definitely laughed once and snickered, kind of giggled twice. So I'm gonna give you that. I did get my 3 laughs out of this.
Okay.
But it didn't pass my 3 laugh mark properly.
It sounds like you're generous.
I am being very generous.
So, without further ado, we watched this illegally, as ever, and the production budget for this film, as listed by Wikipedia, was $42 million. Would you care to hazard a guess as to how much it made?
That's cheaper than I expected. I was expecting a Sandler embezzling, tax write-off. So I don't know, this didn't do well, so I'm gonna go 50 million. It'll make its budget back, I think. No.
No. So this is, it's curious how it's reported on Wikipedia. 41.9 million.
Okay.
So the closest it can get without. So it's as if like the director of the film is like, no. It didn't. I will concede it did not make its budget back, but it came as close as possible.
That's great.
So, while we're here, we'll just say that the director and writer of the film is Ethan Cohen.
Yeah, it got my hopes up for a second, I must admit. That's a strange career divergent, but yeah, no.
If you take the H from Cohen and move it to the Ethan, then you've got Ethan Cohen. And now that the Cohen brothers are working separately, but we're so close to, the apocryphal story of Bill Murray supposedly only signed on to Garfield because it was Joel Cohen. But yeah, Joel Cohen and Ethan Cohen should team up and just see how many actors they can trick into being in like Garfield's and Sherlock Holmes. Because Bill Murray wouldn't have been out of place in this film.
No.
Just to jump straight in, we start off with a little, I forget what they're called, little like prologue title script.
There's a little cold opening before we get to the film, isn't it? The prologue is what I would have called it.
There's a good word. I will splice in when I look up what the word is. Anyway, it says, "Logic is the sword by which we slay ancient superstitions." Which already I was like, okay, this is getting a bit Ben Shapiro. This is a bit Ben Shapiro. This is a bit Jordan Peterson.
I actually forgot about this little moment. I thought you were meaning there's a little flashback we'll get to.
No.
Okay, I forgot about that.
Logic is the sword by which we slay ancient superstitions, but lo, the heart has its own truths to teach us. And you're just waiting for like, okay, because they don't fade up the source, so you're like, okay, this is going to be something dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes up, Hannah Montana, season 2, episode 4, which. Did you appreciate that? Did that make you laugh?
No, it didn't make me laugh at all. I mean, I might have smiled. I think I smiled at how dated it was in 2018.
Yeah, even in 2018. Yeah, never mind now.
I was like, I could see it being done in 2008 or something. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, who the fuck's what? And then, but no, I think this is a recurring thing that we're going to talk about through the film. All the gags are obvious. All the setups are going to be exactly. There's never a time, maybe once or twice, it takes it in a direction you don't expect it, but they're all set up and they're all, I'm not going to say knocked down, but they're all delivered exactly. It's predictable.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? Like, it could have been. It made me half smile. It wasn't one of my giggles.
Yeah.
So it wasn't one of my giggles at all.
No. I agree. I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna harp on you for taking easy jokes, whatever. But like, if this is the first time you've ever seen this done, then maybe like you'll laugh. And it's like, I'm not gonna judge the film just because I've seen this done in other things. Yes. But I was like, okay. But the Hannah Montana thing is another key. It prepares you for the rest of the film with another key thing they do, which is that kind of like anachronistic, topical humor, where this is Holmes and Watson, so it's a period piece, but this is going to be harking forward. You're going to be getting references to selfies, to Miley Cyrus, to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't hate that. I don't understand why do it then, I guess, is kind of my point.
Yeah.
Like, I think, because you can deliver period piece comedy. I think that's an easy thing. That's done before. But why did this need, I mean, like, maybe this is something I'll speak more and more about. Why is this Holmes and Watson? Why did it have to be an IP piece? Why did it have to be, I didn't, and that's, but again, you know what you're getting in for. You know who the audience this is intended for as well. Like we know
it's the SNL crowd.
Yeah,
it's the people who tune in to watch Kate McKinnon sing Hallelujah and are like, oh yeah, ha 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 ha. Justin Bieber does have that haircut, or did have that haircut 10 years ago. I recognize this. He's speaking about things that I know about. Sherlock Holmes is twerking. Wow.
I mean, I call it the Family Guy.
Watson's flossing.
It's the Family Guy thing to me.
Oh,
this is Seth MacFarlane. There's not as much cutaway gags as I was expecting, but that is exactly what I was expecting. Is I mean, even there's a family.
Cutaway gags are going to be racking up your $42 million budget you're going to have to film.
That's true.
You're going to have to have second unit photography filming men in chicken suits.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, that kind of, right off the bat, it's not going to, you know what it is. You know what it's going to be for the next hour and a half or however long it was.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, for me, I was like, okay, I know what's going to happen now. I know what this film's going to be like. I know. So I'm going to put in a low energy Will Ferrell. I'm calculating the film, like
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes in my head at this credits, you know, like I'm putting all the perimeters in, and I'm okay. I'm strapped in and ready to go.
um, okay, my first note of the film itself is bad accent, which again, following on from the ladies' man, I think my first note for that was this voice is going to get annoying
Yeah.
over 90 minutes. So we're watching two American actors do not great British accents for 90 minutes. The kind of accents that are fine when they're in SNL and it's for like 5 minutes. And you're like, it's okay, they haven't done their homework, whatever, close enough. But gets very one note when they're just like, oh, Watson, hello, my name is Sherlock Holmes, ha 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 ha.
And I like so. I mean, I'm going to talk about the casting later. I think it's the biggest kind of thought I had was the casting of this film. But I was really I was really disappointed in John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
Because he can do it.
Yeah.
So what made me think of this was there's a cameo later by Steve Coogan, and then it clicked. I was like, wait, it's 2018. This is a year of Stan and Ollie.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they're two films together in the same year, and I was like, oh, like John C. Reilly is a good actor. I remembered because I'd been bad, I forgot just because the film was killing me. So I was more disappointed in him and his accent because Will Ferrell. I mean, fuck, it's Will Ferrell. Like you say, he's born in it. It's an SNL sketch dragged out for 95 minutes. But the accents right off the bat, yeah, and it's like, they're going to be surrounded by Brits as well, which are only going to make it really infuriating. But again, the casting thing, I'm going to ramble on about that a lot more. But yeah, right off, I agree, and it never got better. It never got easier either. Anytime they opened their mouths, I was shut up, like that's not what you want from your leads. No.
So this is where I think this is what you were preempting, I think, is our little prologue. Which I can't remember how much we spoke about it beforehand. There were alternate openings to this film. So we saw the international version. I tried to find the US version online, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I think that was what I saw when I first watched it. Maybe I've just imagined it. But US audiences saw a little prologue where Holmes and Watson meet as children. Like they're just kind of like friends, and that's their first
Okay.
Oh, hello. I like mysteries.
Yeah.
I like mysteries too. Let's be best friends forever. What's your name? My name's Holmes. What's your name? I'm Watson.
Now that you've said this, I'm sure you've shown me this or talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's clicking. I can see it in my head. I'm envisioning it. I forgot about that while I was watching it, and then we got our version.
Whereas what we get is a lot darker, with John C. Reilly as John Watson being a grizzled veteran suffering from PTSD who's committing suicide. He's going to throw himself off a roof onto, what is it, Will Ferrell? What is it, Sherlock? Sherlock's a gardener in this. It's just like some gourd. Like, do you know what it is? Like, it's a courgette or something?
I can't remember. Again, fever dream. Yeah. I can see it in my head, but my brain is scrambled. This movie scrambled my brain more than working 12-hour shifts, to be honest. But I will say, like, this dark joke, like when they're communicating and the way Holmes is sort of nonchalantly giving a fuck about anything and not really trying to talk him down and stuff. I got a glimmer of hope. It didn't make me laugh, right? Yeah. But I was like, okay, this could, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this won't be. Maybe you got out your system with a Miley Cyrus quote, and this is going to be, a little twinge of darker humor, or maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so continue.
So he's gonna throw himself off. He's like, that's it. I'm gonna end it all. There's no point in living. And Holmes is like, do it, just don't do it here. Don't land on my gourd. Over a bit to the left, he's like, you there, kind stranger. Oh, yes. No, I do have things to live for. He's just like, just over there. There's a great soft patch of ground, a hard patch of ground over there. And then he's like, yeah, I do. I won't do it. Or a gun. If you have a gun, why not blow your brains out with a gun and fall backward? And then, of course, he's like, you've talked me down, old chap, and let's be best friends. Whoa! And he falls and smashes the gourd.
Yes.
So that's how they meet, and they become partners. And then we get titles, which this is where I have my note regarding the cast, because we have Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Rob Brydon, Kelly MacDonald, Lauren Lapkus, Rebecca Ferguson, and Ray Fiennes. And this is ignoring the two uncredited heavy hitters of British comedy who have cameos later on. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, is this... it's not, but I wrote down, is this the best cast for a Razzie winner? Because it has a stacked cast of people who really should know better.
I mean, I don't know. You know my feelings on when Inchin appeared. Okay, but I was pleasant. Right, so it is a start cast. There is a lot of, and I hung around till the credits because in my fever dream I wanted to check something. So I just wanted to wait till the
Yeah.
credits. I noticed a lot of people are uncredited, including
Curious.
including those heavy hitters. If you actually look at it at the end,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that was just we're helping out for the day, quick, like we're around on set, we'll do a quick thing, or they didn't want to be credited
Yeah.
because I don't imagine this was well received, even in like the pre-screenings and stuff, and maybe an agent's in the
Yeah.
ear being like I said, Mr. Coogan, like maybe
Yeah.
we were trying
We've got a lot of buzz for you with Stan and Ollie.
to.
You might lose the Jimmy Savile gig if people hear about
Well,
Holmes
that's
and
it, and it's
Watson.
too
So let's
late.
just keep that on the DL.
You can't take John C. Riley's name off the fucking thing, you can't just cut him out. I had a sneaky suspicion that a lot of the cameos, and there's quite a few, just weren't credited for a reason. I will say, half a spoiler, Billy Zane is credited though, so
He is. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So take that for what you will. But yeah, no, it is a stacked cast. So a lot of it is cameos jumping in and out. They're barely in it, fleeting appearances. I'm annoyed
Yeah.
it's got such a good cast because again, when we talk about how we do it better and we get to there eventually, it's so wasted.
Yeah.
And that's such a crime to me, is to waste having availability of certain people, and just do something with these people. I don't know if it's the most stacked cast we've ever seen, but a lot of people I like here. If this was done 2012, 2010 or something, even earlier maybe, I'd have been way more excited. I didn't see as many. I was excited to not see the more McKay bunch, more Americans. That's what I was feeling. I was feeling a Seth MacFarlane. Sarah Silverman's popping in here.
Yeah.
He's
Oh God.
he's gonna pop in for an appearance.
Andy Dick.
Andy Dick's gonna flap his dick out on fucking Theon Sherlock or something. So I was excited at first not to see Americans, and then in the end I was like, maybe you should have just fucking filmed this in LA green screen or something, because you didn't have a screenplay really, so you didn't need to be here.
Yeah, really, I guess I was just kind of carried away by Ray Fiennes. I think my best cast thing was almost entirely on the basis of good old Rafe, because he's coming off the back of Grand Budapest-ish. Well, I guess there's been a bunch of years, but he's kind of somewhat discerning with his projects, and so he adds an element of prestige to it. Does Old Voldemort, the most sellout thing you can imagine. But anyway, no, apart from that.
I think, I know, I mean, one Spectre must have been around about this time.
Oh, true, yeah,
so,
yeah.
He is prominent though. I mean, he's the third main cast member, you could really say, male lead, or supporting rather. But I don't know, maybe it was just an easy payday for him, paid for the boat, so or whatever. No one's gonna remember Fiennes in this either. Like you say, sandwiched between so close to like Grand Budapest and M and Bond and stuff. No one's gonna give a shit.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna affect his career in any way.
Yeah.
Take the fucking money, but
So my next note, fake news, extremely 2018 joke. I can't remember if this is a newspaper headline with the headline fake news, or if Holmes actually says
it.
This is fake
news.
Holmes
literally fucking says it. That was my first point where I audibly, I think, groaned. I was like, oh no. Oh no. I was like, and like I said, they almost had me with the opening a little bit. I was like, they still delivered the obvious joke, but I was like, there was bits in there that, okay, that could be, but no, this is going to be so dated. And then it's only 5 years old, Jesus Christ.
It was dated by the time it made it to screens.
Exactly, that is crazy.
They said the joke and immediately it withered and died. It was just an overripe banana from the second it left their mouth. Yeah, that's your first sort of brace yourself moment, because you're just waiting for Moriarty has gotten a spray tan, Sherlock. He's a rather orange fellow. He's disguised so that the Scotland Yard can't apprehend him. But yeah, my next note is hat humor, because Sherlock is like, oh, I'm in the market for some trademark headwear. What do you think of this, Watson? What do you think of this? And he just tries on funny hats.
And including a MAGA hat, like that's the
Well, yeah, he has a mega hat, make England great again.
Yeah,
and they don't, it's not a throwaway gag. Like, they linger on it and they're like, oh, how stupid would I be to wear something like this? Like, if it had just been a visual thing, then you might have been inclined to write it off as like, oh, ha, 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 ha. But they lampshade it so hard with like, oh, haven't I trailer trash? Haven't I caravan trash, Watson, for wearing this? Who would imagine me, a person of tremendous intellect, wearing a hat like this?
I've got my note here. I mean, I'm flipping ahead. So like the payoff to this joke is right at the end of the film. Okay.
Yeah.
When who gets a shit spoilers, Sherlock gets his Sherlock hat from Watson, and Watson has a line, and it's like, I think I solved your fucking whatever question before.
Yeah.
And he pulls out the hat, and I was like, "What fucking question? Like, what the? What's this got to do with anything?" Like, I was like, and then it like so. I thought about it. I was just sitting there thinking it, and I went, "Yeah, the fucking the mega hat." Sorry, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I think I've forgotten half the film already, even though I just fucking finished it. And I think that's how much of a sink this film is. But anyway, this made me, like I say, terrified for what was to come. I have notes on for, I think the trial is a way to cut to it, or this is what they're doing as well at the same time. But this moment, and this is 5-10 minutes in or something, I'm worried. I am really fucking worried.
Because you can set up, like, if you want the Deerstalker moment to be a payoff, like, you can set that up throughout the film. Like, audiences are idiots, as Adam McKay has identified. Audiences are idiots who'd rather be watching Fast 8 than Vice, as Adam McKay observes. So you can do that and just remind throughout the film he's trying on hats, being like, oh, that's not quite right. Like, I can't remember what film does it. I want to say it might be one of the, like, Pirates of the Caribbean films or something. But like, where our character loses iconic hat and they're just kind of shopping throughout, trying ones on for size and be like, nah, not quite right. If he's just stealing ones from people in bars, or they knock out a thug, and he's like, "Oh, what do you think of this?" What? No, quite a silly hat in retrospect. But you're surprised when it pays off with a Deerstalker, because it's almost just like it was set up for that mega joke.
Yeah, that's like, I thought it was just a throwaway joke. I didn't. I don't know. You don't need to wear the fucking hat the whole time. You know, he doesn't have the pipe for the whole film. I don't need him. I don't need to be reminded at Sherlock Holmes because I'm watching the fucking film. But I just forgot. It's just because there's a specific line from Watson to it, you know, like, he could have just said, "Oh, here's your hat," and I went, "Cool, here's your hat."
Yeah.
Do the pose, the end, you know, roll the credits. But because there's that line, and I was just like, "Oh my god, you have destroyed me, Cohen," or you know, fucking hell.
See, I feel this is almost like Adam McKay. Like, I feel like the film existed because it's that kind of like the smugness that Vice has. Like the scene I spoke about at the end, where they're just like, audiences were too stupid to hold Dick Cheney accountable because they'd rather be watching a Fast and the Furious movie. It's just that kind of like patronizing, talking down humor that makes me wonder if this film was like script, greenlit, good to go, and then Adam McKay was like, hey, why don't we stick a few like fish in a barrel Trump jokes in here? Wouldn't audiences get a kick out of something that's going to age horrendously?
I don't know, and maybe I didn't read about it. I had this sneaking suspicion that this was not the original script. I knew this film for a while. I think that's my only thing I knew about this film, was it was like production hell and people were recast and passed about like a joint, and I felt like it was okay, we have kind of, you know, when multiple writers, uncredited writers, you know, we know this.
Yeah.
And there's something that is like
foreshadowing.
There's going to be something that is just on the day almost, you know, where we're just coming up with whatever's hot topic. You know, like you're saying, Trump jokes are going to be appearing, selfie jokes are going to be happening, like whatever the kids will get, which is like a Family Guy. That's why I'm always thinking of Family Guy, that we are just shooting it out. We are machine producing it with what's trending,
Yeah.
stick it in, force it in. And that's what I kind of thought with all the weird, like, referential, modern, but they're not good either. Like, and you could
No.
still do them good. This is not good, and I could tell when he's trying on the hats how little a shit Will Ferrell was given.
Yeah.
This is the phonest of all phoned in performances I've ever seen. I know
Which is incredible coming off The Ladies Man, when we've spoken about how, like, in things like Ladies Man and Boat Trip, he's like a very small part and just like steals the show. Whereas in this, he has like 90 minutes and manages to get less laughs than he does in like 5-minute cameos.
Yeah.
It's like incredible.
It's I don't know if it's an energy. I think you were saying there, like the Zoolander energy and things, or there's
Yeah.
something where and I was like, even some of the lines he's got, I was like, Will Ferrell could make them funny.
Yeah.
2004 Will Ferrell would deliver that with such manic zaniness and
Yeah.
passion that I would laugh. It's
He would sell it.
contagious,
Yeah.
yes, and I would get it. But in this, I just wanted him to go away. I wanted my leads to go away, and that is not a good sign this early on either.
So my notes are very, very front heavy, I've noticed. I think I was taking notes of every line and scene initially, and then it just ground me down. So, Scottish character again. We have what is, I think, our third Scottish character after Billy Connolly, the Scottish emoji. And then I guess you could technically count Annie Lennox's presence on the soundtrack of Striptease. But we have Kelly MacDonald playing their housekeeper, Mrs. Hudson. And she is introduced with the line, "Housekeeper from the Glasgow slums."
I remember that. That got me a little. I mean, that's a cheap. That's easy for us to give us a
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
And then
Please don't take our hubcaps away, Kelly MacDonald.
yes. I was fascinated by her performance. It's again when we're going through casting and stuff because she is Scottish, obviously. She's a Scottish actress. She knows how to do a very good Scottish accent, but she has to
Yeah,
turn it up for like an international audience as well. And
yeah,
that's so weird to me, it's almost bordering as like
yeah.
self caricature. I was just sitting there
A hate
fascinated.
crime.
Yeah, it was. I was like, it's
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I feel whenever my agent submits me for anything that's like overly Scottish. I'm like insecure about my own accent. I'm like, okay, I need to ratchet this up a couple of notches at the very least. But how far can
How
I
far?
go? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to end up doing like I don't know any of the iconically bad Scottish performances that we've seen in cinema. But yeah, so Housekeeper from the Glasgow slums. Next note is about the mosquito. So they open like a box or something, and a mosquito flies out. And we've had plenty of like sort of dated jokes. This one is actually like a sort of joke with foresight because Holmes is like, "Get that mosquito! Get that mosquito! It could start a pandemic, and the thing probably has a virus, Watson. Get that mosquito! The mosquito virus is going to shut down the world. We'll need to get vaccinated. It'll all give us autism, Watson." So then we get like a big sort of set piece devoted to that mosquito, where they're trying to catch the mosquito.
Well, it's because,
And
and I could be misremembering this by watching it. They're meant to be at the fucking trial of Moriarty. So, like, that's where we're introduced to Rob Brydon is
yeah,
Inspector, insert name here, I've forgotten it.
Lestrade,
That's the one. Shit, see what I mean? I'm not a Sherlock boy. I assume that's a
not
real.
big on the lore.
I'm
No.
sure it's a real character. I'm sure most of these are
Yeah,
real characters. I quite smiled at this.
yeah,
I like it on paper. I liked it on paper when it was like Moriarty. We're gonna have to let him go free for some,
yeah.
despite being British as well. To the fucking judge gavel like we're in an American court. And I'm going to slowly put it down before he goes free, unless Sherlock comes with the evidence and he's here to, condemn this man.
Yeah,
And then
the
it's
ticking
cut.
clock.
Yeah, and cut, and then we'll cut away to Sherlock and Watson pissing about trying to get a mosquito.
I think that's it, because Watson's like, "Oh, we have to go," and he's trying on hats. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just before we go," and so yeah, it's like we need to be heading out the door.
Well, that's it, because that's it. And he's like, but before I go, I have to have a shot of cocaine, in the morning or
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
okay, I can see where this film, and that was maybe a half a smile, because I was like, okay,
yeah,
if you lean into the turn of the 19th century or 20th century, it's going to be times were different. I was
yeah,
expecting Coca-Cola jokes, with
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, okay,
Too inventive,
we're
Kyle.
going to lean
The
into this.
mainstream audience might not know that
Uh,
reference. Um,
but would they have known that they're
I could connect as just someone who's running late all the time, and I feel like you may share this. Just like me and you, if we were having to give testimony against Moriarty, we wouldn't be there early. We would
no?
be like, "Oh no, we need to record an episode beforehand," or there would something that would involve us leaving it way too late, even if it's the most important thing you could possibly be
Hundred
doing.
percent.
We'd still be like, "Okay, let's just try on a hat
Wizard
beforehand."
is never late. But on paper, I thought I could see it being a funny joke. I could see it. I could see, maybe the director and the writer, who may be the same person, but okay, on paper we can see this, jump back. But the execution of it was so fucking annoying. It takes so fucking long. They killed the joke. Like they're pissing about for so long.
Well, that ties into my note because I have slapping each other. Who wrote this? Because they do the like, I think we've seen it in another movie, like the Penguins of Madagascar thing, where they're just like, it's on your face.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I watching a movie from like the 1930s? Like, is this the Marx Brothers?
Yeah.
Is this the Stooges? Like, why am I watching this gag that I've seen done a million times better?
And and I was thinking there was going to be something, because obviously, I mean, that's the obvious thing to do. If you're going for that again, turn of the 20th century, you're probably going to do some vaudeville style comedy. Like
Yeah,
just a hint, and you can maybe update it, you
yeah,
could subvert it. We'll think
yeah,
that's what he's going to do, but don't literally
yeah.
do a joke that's been done for 100 years. Like, um, like,
have them
bait and
have them
switch it.
invent it
Make
if
us
you're
think,
gonna do
oh, they're
that. I
going
was
to
like,
do a little
oh,
bit.
I say this is quite a
Yeah.
funny thing. My friend Charles and Buster, they might enjoy doing this. Or
Mr. Keaton, it's your cousin,
yeah. Marvin Keaton.
Marvin Keaton. But yeah, I
just
I was I was so hungry at this point,
yeah,
because it just took so long. Again, when I was saying the predictability is when the mosquito lands on the hornets thing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't remember. It's like a box of hornets, and
yeah, yeah,
Sherlock calculates, the angle. It's gonna, if I do this and do this, I just have to hit the mosquito, and the hornets don't get broken. Day saved, and
yeah,
you know what's gonna happen, right? So
yeah,
he does it, and if we know it's gonna do the crick and it's gonna break slowly and then all break
yeah,
through.
yeah,
But for a second, I thought they're not going to do that. He is actually going to hit it, and
yeah,
I want to be tricked almost by this film. I want you to
yeah,
go, I thought you were being a fucking moron, but like,
yeah,
like, but no, they do it, and I'm just so annoyed, because we are 10 minutes into this fucking film, and I've talked about this on previous episodes. I don't want to look at the time remaining. This was
yeah.
it. I looked at the time. I looked at it because I was
Oh
like,
no.
maybe I'm hallucinating, and we've got 10 minutes to go or something. Maybe this is just a really quick film, and my heart sunk here. In 10 minutes, I couldn't fucking believe it. They do get there though, so that's something.
I am deeply ashamed to say this, as I think this is where we diverge, and it might be because I have more familiarity with Sherlock Holmes. So I liked what this was parodying. It's kind of equal parts Benedict Cumberbatch, equal parts Robert Downey Jr. Because the Guy Ritchie one has like, Sherlock is so smart that it makes him a good fighter, because he does like bare knuckle boxing where
Mm-hmm,
you see
mm-hmm,
it slow down and he calculates like left hook to right temple,
mm-hmm,
discombobulate, uppercut, dislocate elbow, and he plans out his fight strategy and
mm-hmm.
then does it, and time speeds up, whatever. And then Benedict Cumberbatch's version of that is going to his mind palace, where he's able to survive being shot
Mm-hmm.
because he's like, I went to my mind palace, Watson, and discovered that the bullet would enter my chest between the third and fourth ribs, and so I was able to slow my heart and still my breathing, and that's how I survived. Like, he survives being thrown off a building by going to his mind palace, and it's just complete nonsense.
I mean, I get it. You've got to make Sherlock a superhero. I get it, and like I didn't know that's directly kind of what it might have been parodying, because spoiler, like later, I think there were probably these little cutaway bits were might have been my favorite bits.
Yeah, they were mine.
And I just wished, especially right. So I'm thinking of like rules of three of comedy. He needs to get it right for it to be funny. Like when he doesn't get it right as well, like maybe like he gets it right, and then boom, he'll fuck up, and then I didn't calculate that bit or something, and we can land a joke in there.
Yeah.
But I was like, you've thrown away your best gag probably already, right away. You could have done something so much more with this. I would, and I appreciate when he is Sherlock Holmes, and what I assume is Sherlock Holmes in other media and stuff, with this kind of like, because otherwise he isn't a very good detective at all.
No.
And this is where I'm kind of saying, why is this a Sherlock Holmes film? Why is this not the great feral detective or something? It could have been something different. The only thing you're parodying is these sort of brain moments.
Yeah.
But I know, I do agree that these were the funniest bits, and they were, like you've just told me, they were stolen. So careful ahead.
I have that written as the first good joke, where he unleashes, like, I don't know what specifically I'm saying is the joke, but where he does the mind palace thing and he unleashes the bees, and then Watson pulls out his gun and starts shooting the bees.
No, I did chuckle at shooting the bees. I forgot that. I thought it was later on after. I did. So I'm going to say the big bits that got me smiling or giggling were the absurd slapstick moments. That's one of them, basically, where it's like almost shock, where you're just being silly, and then suddenly you just turn it up, and I was like, okay, and this is where John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are good. This is what makes Step Brothers and stuff good, and previous stuff. It's when you've got a joke, you turn it up a little bit more, and you give us a good physical bit of comedy. And I did appreciate that. It was the first time I liked them as well, for a fucking second.
Yeah, so I think we then get to the trial. They eventually get there, and they're like, "Stop!"
Yeah, and see, that's where I was laughing at. That's where I was laughing at, is because John C. Reilly runs in and starts shooting the fucking thing up. Yeah.
Well, that's my note, is trigger happy Watson second laugh of the film.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, they've given Watson a character trait which I don't think he has in anything else.
Good.
Of like, obviously he's like a war veteran, and in this he's just a man who like fires off his gun at everything.
And,
like shoot first, ask questions later.
Because you set that up with a dark start, with him being like a war veteran. I was so up for that. I was okay with that. I was trigger happy. And I was like, if you have Sherlock using his brains and Watson just firing a gun, I was like, you're doing so much. And I was picturing this here as well, the brain calculation, if I do it, and then Watson just shoots them like something, or shoots someone.
Exactly, like a hand shoots first. Sherlock's interrogating someone and Watson like shoots him in the leg, or just like shoots someone Sherlock's about to interrogate. You can mine that for so much comedy.
So much potential. And it seemed like they knew that at the start. I thought, okay, you guys know this, and they threw it away. And that's what maybe I'm like, there's rewrites. There's got to be something in here that's different, because trigger happy Watson would have been great.
A mass shooting occurred in production. They're like, okay, maybe let's not have. Okay, maybe you can help work this out for me, because my next note is, I am under oath.
Yeah, you're not under oath. You never took an oath. I'm under my own oath.
Facts don't care about your feelings is my next one. Which I think this is where we get into the Shapiro, like Sherlock owns someone with their own logic, or does he? He's under he's under his own oath.
I'm under my own oath, because I'm sure this is super arrogant, and again, I assume this is across the board in portrayals of them, and this is to show that Fiennes, who's Moriarty, isn't Moriarty. Because he's actually a doppelganger lookalike that's been hired by Moriarty, and the reason he's done this is because he's terminal, and he's the real Moriarty is out there, and
heading to America or something.
Heading to America, yeah.
Like, this man's wearing a fake mustache, and he He's fine being hung because he's dying from excessive onanism, and so we get a bunch of wank gags, which again, time-honored bit executed horrendously, because they're on the stand and they're doing the euphemistic thing of, and this man is suffering from tremors. If you watch him, he's suffering from tremors induced by excessive masturbation. And they're like, what? He's like, he pours his own tea. And then you think, like, the thing I always reference, which isn't quite this, but I think shows you what you need to do with the gag, is the Chris Morris, like, pedophile thing, where he's like, you're a pedophile. You're a nonce.
Yeah.
You're a small beaner garden. You're a bent ref. You're a fenceful. You're the crazy world of Arthur Brown.
Yeah.
You start with broad references, and then, or no, you don't. You start with broad references and then get hyper specific,
obviously,
or you start euphemistically,
and
then by the end you're forced just to be like, he's like, But I feel like they almost do like more than one tea-centric one. Like, he pours his own tea. He adds sugar to his own cup. He adds milk to his own tea. But they're like, he's Romeo and Juliet. He's a wanker. Which, I don't know, maybe it's just Americans' fascination with the word wanker. But, like, it's just so, like, it's so tedious watching it.
I 100% agree. You know, any goodwill you've just, like you say, I've just got half a laugh out of this film instantly. And it's the, you don't know when to cut it, you know, you don't know when to...
Yeah.
Like, surely you were on set and realised, maybe we've done this a couple of beats too long, you know. Maybe this isn't as funny as we think, because the euphemisms aren't funny. Nothing's funny. Like you say, it's almost like you know about it, but you don't know how to do the joke. And that's I actually forgot about that a little bit there. I zooped on ahead in my, my recollection. If you asked me, I would have I've deleted a lot of stuff from my brain from this film. That would have been a bit where I should have no, they move on, because that's what I was hoping they would do.
Let's skip ahead to my next note is eating onions. And I've again written who wrote this, because it just seems like such a tired bit, because like someone's eating onion. I think Sherlock is eating an onion like an apple. And it's just like such a time trodden bit that we've gone from this being like, I don't know, things we've seen done before, vaudeville humor, to now I'm just like, this is like being on like a boomer's Facebook page. Because I remember going to university with a girl who was like, oh, like, I want to make like a TV show where like I'm gonna like scoop out like a jar of mayonnaise and fill it with yogurt, and I'll just like eat it by the spoonful. And my flatmate was like, oh, that's amazing, that would be so funny, ha. And then I was like, we've all seen that meme. Like, I don't know, I'm just too terminally online for these things.
Yeah.
And so like eating onions like it's an apple, it just reminds me of like the Mrs. Brown's Boys has a moment where Mrs. Brown barrels the camera and says, I wonder whoever pulled a cow's udders and thought, I'll drink what comes out. And it's like, yeah, Mrs. Brown, we all enjoyed that. These are just like old wives' tales, or they're just like so fucking old.
Yeah,
and to see them put on screen.
I mean, I agree. The onion thing, I almost, when I first, I agree with you 100%, but I almost thought it was going to be a setup for something else. I don't know what. I was like, okay, maybe you're setting up. But no, the entire joke is eating a fucking onion raw. And again, what I'm saying about hitting beats far too fucking long is it is over and over, and he's trying to go on about it and how it's so juicy. You just have to get to the core, and once you really bite into it. And I was like, fucking hell, man! Like, it would have been much funnier if it was just not even brought up. You know, like
if that's just a trait, that's the thing he does. And Wattson's like, oh, don't mind.
Yeah.
That's he enjoys these frightfully delicious things.
I just even a little facial like Watson, what the fuck, like some sort of move on, and then it will probably stay with the audience more. Just these a weird little trait that no one brings it up. No one cares. Nothing's thought about it. I would be up because he's Sherlock Holmes. He's probably a bit eccentric. He's a strange character. Like, no one would doubt it. I would like it maybe catching on as a trend, and you see other people trying to imitate him because he's, oh, he's so smart or
Yeah.
something. You could do something with it. But no,
That's the key to his genius, is he
yes, that's it,
consumes. Yeah.
exactly it. Something, anything, just you could work it out. You could sit down for more than 10 minutes when you're writing the script and just come up with something. But no, ha ha ha, eating raw fucking vegetable is not funny. Like, no, it's not.
It's like we've criticized comedies before for not having jokes, and this one doesn't lack jokes. And it probably actually has quite a number, but it's almost as if they've got like, we've got 9 jokes, and so each one needs to be stretched out to 10 minutes long in order for us to
That's what I'm saying.
get this to screen.
That's what I'm saying. When you're going on it, when it's the masturbation, when it's the onion, when it's the hearts, when it's all the jokes coming up, I'm thinking, like I say, rule of threes with comedy. You can first time you get a laugh, second time you get a bigger laugh, you get a third laugh, but that's it. Like, there's no more.
Done.
You're done. Will Ferrell knows this because he's a fucking comedian. Like.
Yeah,
I mean, he has been on SNL though, so maybe maybe that's different. Beat it until it's dead. But like, this is where there is a lot of jokes, but like you said, there's probably only about 9, 10, and this is a big concern early on, like even at this point, because I don't know, maybe it's because we watched The Ladies' Man and it never lingered too much on jokes.
No, The Ladies' Man was great. The Ladies' Man never outstays its welcome.
And even Dirty Love, just fucking moved on.
Oh God, you're right.
It would hit you with a joke and then it would move on. If it didn't laugh,
they didn't spend 20 minutes explaining the bass in the ass.
Exactly. And then you move the fuck on. It either hits or misses, and that's all.
Do you get it, Jenny? The man has a bass fish inserted in his anus or ass.
But yeah, continue.
Next note: Kelly MacDonald is awful. like I don't know. I like her in Trainspotting.
Yeah.
I like her in Brave. I like her in some things, but I feel like I have it in the back of my mind that I've seen her be less than great in some things. It might just be actually this. But she's so bad because she gets introduced.
It took me. I just said it before. I was fascinated because I recognized the name. I was Trainspotting, and I was like, I'm trying to rack my brain, failing because it's 2 a.m. or whatever. But almost doubted she was Scottish until it clicked. Until I seen her and stuff. Like I said, the accent was. That's a bit offensive. American woman, but she's so bad. She's having fun, I guess, is one thing. She's not the worst performance. I'm giving that to Will. I think Will's the worst performance in the film. But yeah, she's not good. She's not good. But I won't hold her too much to blame. I think there's an Americanization going on.
Because she kind of, we get introduced to her, but not really introduced to her. She crops up every so often as their nymphomaniac landlord who's always fucking in Watson's bed, and so she'll be coming out with various famous.
Well, I was trying to remember them because Einstein characters. Was one of them. She came out with
Twain's the first.
Well, I think Mark Twain, and I was like, who the fuck that thinks a Hannah Montana joke is funny knows who the fuck Mark Twain is? Yeah.
Who's going to be enjoying references to Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer?
That's where I kind of expected an anachronistic, a strange. Oh, here comes
Elon Musk.
Here comes Elon Musk. Trump. I thought Trump was going to be. I honestly,
that would be so good.
I thought
Alec Baldwin.
I thought it was going to be there's a German entrepreneur named Marvin Trump,
Donald Trump.
The original.
His answer.
His great granddad, and again with a shitty throwaway line.
I have the hugest penis. Well, I can deduce from the cut of your pants that your penis must in fact be rather small, mushroom-shaped. Oh, this adult burlesque performer, the Stormy Daniels, is claiming to have slept with the president.
That's exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a payoff thing. Don't worry, I didn't pay her off. I didn't do, I thought there was going to be something. That's what I was expecting. I was wrong. Here's Mark Twain.
I kind of think it pays off. We'll touch on it. We'll touch on it later. But we almost have our other film with a Chaplin throuple of does she not come out with Charlie Chaplin and someone else?
Yeah.
Which blonde moment. Okay. My next note, just to further embarrass myself, so just to kind of keep the plot going on. So they're trying to track down the loose Moriarty.
Yeah.
They're trying to track down the real Moriarty. That's kind of loosely what is going on, and it's just your standard thing of like, every mystery they sort of go to like the streets and try and find like an informant. So they're at like a bar, opium den kind of thing, whatever. And this made me laugh. I can't remember how it's set up, but they go to take in some entertainment and, like cockfighting kind of thing, like people betting, and it's child boxing, which, that.
It's got a smile at you? Okay, no, that's fine.
That.
And then I'm getting drunk to fit in.
Because they're like, it's sort of, it's just, I think the way it's like shot is quite funny. Of these children are really going at it, and it's like, it reminds me of that Talladega Nights with the "shut up, Chip, or I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey." Yeah. Like they're going hell for leather. So the child fight club made me.
I liked it. I mean, it's the story. It's the film of missed opportunities, because you could have done a lot more. You could have made it spectacle, like to reveal that it's children a lot more. They could be hearing trash talk when they're entering the building. Like, and it's Jimmy Jones is 3-1 because. He hasn't lost in
I already killed someone in his last fight.
5 years ago, he killed someone, in a fight. And
I wouldn't like to fight him, Sherlock.
That's why I was saying 5 years ago, he killed someone in a fight and out walks a seven. And you're like... He's
like lost all his teeth since the last fight or whatever. And you see,
I thought, again, just take more than 10 minutes, like work on it. Just give us something a lot more. I agree that it's funny in concept, but there's so much more you could go with it and do stuff.
Yeah,
I did like them. I did like this scene. I know both our backgrounds are drinking scenes as well, because this was fun. This was a lot more what I was expecting. The sort of Step Brothers style, like in Step Brother when they're starting to bond and stuff, and they're being you can start goofing off a lot more. So I'm not saying it swung me around at this point, because that's a lie, but I definitely like this bit.
That's my next note, is Piss Mind Palace, because again, I'm just so weary of like I don't know, incredible feats being achieved through use of mind palaces. When Sherlock is like trying to piss and he's calculating the angles of 45 degrees, apply force to penis, channel towards angle of splashback, 3 degrees, 4 feet away. When he's doing trigonometry and working out the angles, I was like, oh, this is like I don't know, this is a sort of funny, dumb subversion of that like mind palace trope.
I thought this is where my brain's gone funky, because I thought the reason they were going to the bar and doing all this was because they were already trying to locate the corpse body who had the tattoo. This is just me. Again, it doesn't matter. Don't watch it at home, listeners. Just listen to my interpretation in a fever dream. There was a body that was in the Queen. I can't remember how they go to visit the Queen, and they find a body. I can't remember how they find the body. I totally forgot.
Yeah, well done. It's in the cake.
And they go to the autopsy. And that's where we meet our 2 female leads.
Congratulations. Thank you for covering all these things. I've lost
that is the feral girl and the doctor.
Rebecca Ferguson plays
the doctor.
Like the doctor. I was trying to think. She's not Irene Adler. She's not like, I don't think she's like she might be someone from the Sherlock novels, but she plays a doctor, and her subject is Lauren Lapkus, her associate, who was a feral girl raised by cats. And she's like, oh, I've civilized her. That's my
and it cuts her, and she does her, her chinless kind of like hiss that half got a smile. I mean, I was like, okay, that's okay. And I like this bit because it's also when Holmes is like, a doctor, no, here come the maids and all this, and Holmes being an asshole. And it's like a doctor, spelled D-O-C.
A woman being president.
I was like,
I'm with her.
I was like, okay, a little smile. So this was one of my. So Watson and the doctor do the autopsy. And I half got a smile out of this because modern music comes on. Don't quote me on what song it is. And they lock eyes across the body, and they're lathering up the body, and it's getting more erotic. And
It's the ghost scene
it's
almost
the
of
ghost, right? And in my right, so in my head, because it was late at night, I was playing it out in my head, and I think I was laughing at what I was expecting, which doesn't happen. But they lock eyes, they're lather and body, and in my head, I expected them to try and meet hands over the body
yeah,
and then push
yeah,
right
yeah,
through the cadaver, and it was just going to be like
yeah,
we've
yeah,
ruined the body, we're going to have some
yeah,
shocking
yeah.
gore. Doesn't
We're fucking on top
yeah,
of this
yeah,
corpse.
yes, and it's all just
Yeah,
getting them like yes, exactly, body
yeah,
flail and like just
yeah,
a
yeah,
gross out moment is kind of because it would be
yeah,
shocking. You know,
yeah,
you think you're going for the ghost
yeah,
moment, and we're going to subvert you. It
yeah,
doesn't properly because whatever laziness. But anyway, back on track. They don't know how he died because they were too busy fucking falling in love and shit.
yeah,
And Holmes is like, no, he was poisoned. And
yeah,
he was poisoned, I can't remember, by his tattoo. And then
yeah.
that's where they find out there's a one armed man who does tattoos. Okay.
Who killed Harrison Ford's wife?
And all right, so and then we go and he's got to find the one arm because that's they follow two men with tattoos into a bar, and that's how
Yeah,
they lead to their drinking blend in. We need to find out where this tattoo artist is. So I have flown through 40 minutes of film there, half an hour, but that is what I remember because I was still paying attention at this point. And it also leads to the scene I kind of want to talk about the most is the wrestling scene when they do find the tattoo artist. I can't remember who tells them where to go. I think it's Last of Us girl as well. She's
oh
popped up
yeah,
here. I
yeah,
noticed her right away. I was like,
yeah.
oh, Game of Thrones.
Again, it's got like a good cast,
Mhm.
even down to the child
Yeah,
actors. There's her, and then there's Noah Jupe
yeah, yeah.
is like the kid actor in it. So
So
yeah, no.
I was like, okay. So I could be wrong. It might not be her. I remember. I'm sure Charlotte calls like a band of kids that he actually does use in other media.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not implying anything, but the sources information.
I say, Watson, I found a ticket to the Lolita Express.
But so anyway, so wherever the fuck we are, he's looking for a tattoo person who poisoned the body for the person that was trying to kill the queen. That's
Yeah.
where I remember. It's honestly, it's pretty much after this scene that my brain turns to mush.
Honestly, you're being too modest because I watched this like I guess I was getting over jet lag, but like I watched this relatively compos mentis, and I've just discarded all
Yeah,
that
well,
plot.
okay,
I'm just noting down
but
gags, and you remember this pretty
because
well, so don't be so hard on
after
yourself.
this moment, I kind of have like a mind blank, and then
Yeah,
I they're all the Titanic's here. Okay, like again, I'm like, what the fuck
yeah,
happens in between? So why is Billy Zane here? What's going on? Anyway.
yeah.
So this is me personal because maybe I just perk up when I seen the sight of a wrestling ring as well. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, there's going to be something in here. There's going to be someone here for me. There's going to be something.
yeah,
So yeah, Steve Coogan is the one-armed man, and it was at this point. This is a little divergence, but I instantly was like, ah, shit. I was because he's not credited, and I was like, fuck, he's gonna be in here. He's gonna do 4 lines, and he's gonna go out for a
yeah,
pint with them. He's probably
yeah,
just doing this with John C. Riley. This is what it all clicked, like I said to
yeah,
me. He's probably just doing this for a favor. And I
yeah,
was like, ah. And then because Rob Brydon's in this film, I
yeah.
started making up a film with them being Holmes and Watson, and
Oh damn, that would have been good.
I imagined Coogan as Holmes, basically Alan Partridge in it a little bit, like, and Watson is the
Yeah,
dead straight man with the
yeah,
gunfire,
yeah,
because Rob Brydon would be able to
yeah,
do the trigger happy thing. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, oh shit, oh no, I didn't want to see that because that's all I want now. I was like, and it would be
yeah,
British,
yeah,
and we could have British
yeah,
cameos coming in, but
yeah.
Partridge Holmes made me just get so excited, and I was like, oh no, it's not gonna happen because Will Ferrell's still here fucking about.
Do you want to just put up bars and tone like "Boo" for the rest of this podcast while we write this and try and sell it? Because I think you're a British Alan Partridge. You'd have Matt Berry in
You
there as
absolutely
Moriarty.
Matt Berry, Holmes, unhand me Holmes. It'd be fantastic. We'd get everyone in. We'd get like I'd have,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this is exactly what I was doing. I was like, we'd get Richard Iodi to be Inspector, whatever his
yeah.
name
We'd
is.
get Graham Linehan in.
Everyone in.
All our
We'll get
favourites.
all our favorites.
Yeah,
I was like, if you're a
yeah,
British comedian, we
yeah.
can lean into
We'd
the
have Chris
British.
Morrison there.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. We'll bring them all together. We'll get all the reunions in.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, then there's going to be, and then we'll have maybe one or two Americans just to,
yeah.
sell it
Sell
abroad.
it.
I was like,
Like,
fucking,
yeah,
we can get
John Hamm
yeah,
or
I get
whoever's.
Odenkirk. Come
Yeah.
on, like we need you. We'll get you to do something. I get comedians that are like good together as well. And obviously, like I think Bryden and Coogan would have a really good like antagonistic love-hate relationship as well. I would think it
Oh,
would be
for sure. That's like the
fantastic.
trip, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
they
but I
have their chemistry that's
translate that
been built
across to
over
Holmes and
years. Yeah.
Watson, especially what this film's trying to go with, where Dr. Watson doesn't get any credit as well, and
Yeah.
Partridge Holmes does get all the credit, and he's basically a fluke and all this, like and.
Yeah. Lynn is Watson.
So this was this and so I was happy to see him, but I was also like, no, because that's all I'm going to think about for the rest of the film. What would they do in this scene?
Yeah.
What would they do in this scene? But anyway,
Yeah.
my two notes. This isn't important because Coogan gets killed off within 2 minutes. So my wrestler cameo is a wrestler called Braun Strowman, and he plays a character called Braun. And I was like, I think that's just so he knew what character he was, like, and he could remember.
Yeah.
It's like Homer getting a new name kind of thing.
Yeah. When I say hello, Mr. Braun, and press down on your foot, you smile and nod.
And they also like, this is another thing keep forgetting how tall Will Ferrell is at times, because that's a big tall wrestler, and maybe it's just not the low angles and you're not shooting it with like the big David Goliath thing. But I was like, they don't look that different in height, like really. And I was like, like that's poor camera work here. Like try and hide Will Ferrell here a bit. I also get the UFC and famous announcer, the Buffer brothers. He doesn't say let's get ready to rumble though. I think he says let's get ready to brawl or something.
Yeah.
Which my only trivia is I know he owns the copyright to the let's get ready to rumble, and he charges a lot to use it. Like a lot. I think it's like stupid,
42 million.
Stupid. No, I honestly think it's at least. I think it's like a million or something. Like he really does. He's like, it's a phrase I coined, and I'm not letting you use it. And I was like, so you've got him, but you're not going to pay for his fucking phrase.
I'm free. You just have to pay for me to say the words.
And again, so the jokes used what we said with his mind calculations and stuff. Where he's if I do this, to this, to this, we'll get him. And this is another moment where I was like, he'll be doing this, and then he'll get punched in the face, like mid thought, and like they don't, because they're not smart enough. They just devolve into, oh, do you know wrestling? Wrestling is you chairs, and they'll cheat. That's the theatrical thing. So I was like, this is so fucking lazy, and I was like, you can throw wrestling jokes in there, and you fuck them up. You have done nothing with nothing. Coogan looked cool in his costume and his one-arm tattoo gun thing. And I was like, I don't know if it was worth sitting in makeup or a costume for that long, but And then he dies. He gets killed off, and we move the fuck on. And my brain was like, I'm done. Like, I'm thinking Coogan and Bryden. I'm thinking, up until a point, which we'll get to the next big cameo, where my brain recast that again and moved on again, and I was like, in 1989 this would have been great with these two guys. So this pissed me off. I don't have any remembering things except when Coogan dies up until Holmes goes to meet his brother Miles. What's his name again? Mycroft, that's the one. See, I don't have a fucking clue. I have no other notes.
Okay, so I only have bits. Okay. So I'm going to just tell you the jokes, and then if you can recall when the Mycroft scene happens, then interrupt me and we can discuss that. So they've kind of been setting up, like, Watson is unhappy being the second banana. The Batman and Robin dynamic, shall we say, where Chris O'Donnell's Robin is unhappy. It's always Batman and Robin and never Robin and Batman. And isn't really like a satisfying narrative to the film, but it does give you this one funny gag that made me mildly laugh when they're doing the classic like spinning newspaper, and it says like Sherlock and the guy he hangs out with stumped.
I forgot that joke. Okay, that's my old. I laughed there just thinking about it. So yeah, fair. That's not bad.
Yeah, and then we get the Queen Victoria scene. So they're like taking a photograph where they're like, this is taking a photograph of yourself, ma'am. It's kind of a selfie. And then what you do is you purse your lips so that you look like a duck-billed platypus. Ooh, platypus face. Ooh, platypus face. And it's just,
I,
I don't know. There's
so this thing, I think this scene was before, and my only
yeah,
note or thought I've written down with that is this caught me off guard because I hated it. I was so angry and I was so fucking pissed off. I was miserable watching this scene, and it goes on too long. But when they think they killed Victoria, and it's got like a good
yeah,
sound effect where she falls and cracks her head,
yeah,
I laughed
yeah.
again. The slapstick that was a genuine. I didn't expect. I thought, oh, she'll fall.
Yeah,
Oh no, or fall on top of each other is what I was expecting from the film.
yeah.
Oh no,
The
ma'am!
Joss Whedon gag
Yes,
of
yes,
like,
yes.
we fall in a compromising sexual
Yes,
position, Your Majesty.
exactly. But when she doesn't die, but I thought, okay, that was funny. You not done the obvious joke what I expected. You hard hit her and like she's like basically dead for and the guards are all trying to get in and they've got to do the little weekend at Queen Victoria's, which I thought which was
Weekend at Vicky's.
yeah, I thought that was quite fun. Just one genuine little laugh, and then they also don't beat the joke on too long either. Like she
No.
comes back to consciousness just when it's starting to get stale. Again, I appreciated. So a fair play. That's a massive minus like 40 points for the selfie thing, but plus 5 points for the semi decent joke at the end of it.
I like the idea that, like, I don't know, in Victorian England, duck-billed platypuses would be like a more common reference than a duck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like we're familiar with this creature that exists on the other side of the planet, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're gonna like invoke rather than just the thing that everyone has in their pawn.
Absolutely.
Next, we have another Trump gag where they just segue into like there are a bunch of background Trump gags. Like they're at some kind of expo, I think, and they're just they're at an expo and there's sort of like some mildly funny background gags, and then Will Ferrell's like, the Electoral College is one of our best inventions, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. We need a businessman to run the country like a business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. That would take care of things. A reality TV, a reality television star, Watson. Wouldn't that be top?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just the movie grinding to a halt to speak. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess like people have had this dialogue like back and forth like a million times. Do you want to go to the movies to escape? Is it privileged to want to escape? Like, as white guys who don't live in America, should we be commenting on this? But like, imagine you go and see like a Holmes and Watson movie, and you're just like, oh, that's good. I'm just gonna laugh for 2 hours
Yeah.
to escape like the lunatic raving on Twitter and 24-hour news coverage,
Oh,
and you
100%.
just get Donald Trump cropping up every 10 minutes.
It's just
It's just
it's a
like,
weird thing because I don't know. I remember I don't if you've got little references to me like and obviously films always have little winks and nods to current going. I don't need to know like who George Bush Senior was to know that his episode of The Simpsons was funny, because it was just a stuck upper white it was the Dennis the
yeah.
Menace kind of parody and I got it as a stupid kid because it was funny.
Yeah.
And you were playing all I didn't need to know anything about his
Yeah.
sons or anything. It's not teaching me a
Yeah,
lesson.
no, it works
It
on so
works
many levels.
because if you're gonna, I imagine watching this in 20 years' time when the Rock's in his second term or something, or Kanye's fucking president. You're gonna be like, oh, what the fuck? No one's gonna remember this. It's stupid. I agree. I think
Yeah.
if obviously if you've got a message, you've got something. If you want to speak out against Trump, make a film, make a thing, go have a
Yeah, like
message.
if you're
100%.
Spike Lee making Black
Yeah,
Klansmen, do
go
that.
nuts.
But don't just cram in lazy fish in a barrel like, have you ever noticed that the pigment of the president is quite orange, Watson? Oh, and his hair. What's that all about, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so like I don't know. It's like it either needs to be really good or maybe don't put in topical. I don't even want to say jokes, but I don't put in like topical observations.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make president airplane jokes or
Mm-hmm.
president mother-in-law jokes in your
Mm-hmm.
in your comedy
Mm-hmm.
in your
100
period comedy.
Yeah, period comedy.
Like, imagine if they made it now, and like the Elon Musk surrogate would be getting like, oh, I'll say like the media magnate here. Have you heard that he paid 48 million for the news of the world,
Yeah.
and he's charging to get verified, Watson?
Yeah.
What's that all
I
about?
see. I think it's funnier when you pray, like Elon Musk in The Simpsons, when he's like, I want to grow up,
Yeah,
Lisa, we're going to be a great man like Einstein or Elon Musk.
yeah,
And I was like, that's ace. That's aged beautifully. Like you've aged milk.
yeah, yeah,
I That's funnier to me. Like it's funnier when someone if their film was trying to praise up someone and then they turn out to be a
yeah,
horrible cretin, then I'm gonna laugh
yeah,
because you've already made your fucking film. You've already made it, and you're stuck with your fucking opinion forever. It's like
yeah,
tattooing lyrics on you or something, and it turns out
yeah, yeah.
well, fucking lost
Well, the
profit.
guy who
So
got like Manchester City, UCL, like UEFA Champions League winners, like 2020 tattooed on him or
yeah,
whatever. Like all
I
these.
want to see someone with a Gary glitter tattoo, and they're like, ah, shit, I didn't see it coming, I just didn't know, and
Yeah.
I'm stuck with it. So anyway, I want to get through this film. I don't want to spend more time on this film than it deserves. We
Yeah.
meet. So if you've got any notes, jump in. I have one note after this.
I think my only notes come after this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So when we meet Mycroft, is that what you said?
Yeah.
And it's Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here's Hugh Laurie. And I know about Sherlock's brother. I didn't know his name when we were doing the podcast, but I knew that he was a smarter older brother that didn't want to be
Yeah.
a detective or something. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I know something from something.
He's the George to Sherlock's Gem.
Perfect. That's what we need. And this is a little scene, really quick. Watson has to go in the companion's room. You can't sit with the detectives.
Oh yeah, that is quite good. Actually.
That was a funny little joke because that was, there's all these weird misfits and stuff in it as well.
Again with The Simpsons, my favorite is when Lionel Hutz calls like the special witnesses or whatever,
Yes.
and like in walks Ralph Wiggum and like fat guys on the bicycle, and just like this weird comedy cast of characters. When he's in the companion's room, it's like birds and like children and
Yes, and I thought that was funny. I was like, that was just a brief, and they don't linger on it. Probably one of he doesn't sit there talking to them all. It's just quick, we'll see them
no,
hit the
it's
joke,
just
move
single
on.
sight gag. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Followed the film for that. That was my chuckle. I think we've covered all my chuckles and laughing out. So Hugh Laurie appears, and then my brain turns off again, and I imagine Hugh Laurie is Sherlock and Stephen Fry is Watson, and I'm playing this film as Blackadder, basically, in the 80s, and I'm imagining what it would be like, and I was like, oh, you could switch the roles, but I think because Hugh Laurie's house, and that's basically how I imagine Sherlock to be. And I said, okay, we could do more fun. So I'm making up two films in my head at this time, and it's pissing me off a lot. I don't know what the telepathic communication between the brothers was about, but
oh yeah, it's because they're so smart.
Because they're so smart,
it's the mind palace thing of like, because they're so smart. Yeah, they're telepathic. That's what.
And he's like,
they set
Hugh
up.
Laurie's like, you fucking idiot. It's always been in front of you. The clue's always been there. You've blah blah blah. It's not out there. It's in front of you. And then Will Ferrell's like, oh, it's fucking Watson. He's the one. He puts it together. It must be him. He's been sitting inside. No one else has been in the film for longer than 5 minutes, so it must be him.
He tampered with the corpse.
Yeah,
he's done all this.
No one else could arrest him. So I got half a joke when he's like, where are we going? Like almost like a child. He's like, where are we going now, Mr. Holmes?
A dog right into the vet.
I was exactly that. As I got the joke, takes him to the police, gets him arrested, and my brain turns off a bit mushier. But again, we're going to zoop through it if there's not much else to say.
I have 4 notes basically. So the payoff to this is they're going to execute Watson.
Yes.
And another shameful laugh for me is they're like, basically everyone's baying for blood about executing Watson, and Gandhi pops up and says, I'd like to hang that bitch myself.
So I don't. So right. I'm going to be honest here. I went out for a cigarette when they started singing.
Yeah,
And there's a moment where Holmes is doubting it, or he's having an emotional breakthrough or some shit, and Watson's in his cell,
yeah,
he's cutting back, and it's John C. Reilly and Farrell went up and saying, I get that, I understand it,
yeah,
but I was like, nah, sorry lads, there's going to be 5 minutes, I'm just going to stand up and miss, and I came back, and I don't think I missed anything except
yeah.
something to do with a cake in the
Well, you're
cell.
really fucking me over here because I can't remember any of the plot. I
Doesn't
can
matter.
just remember the
We
gags.
will we'll
So,
fly ahead. It doesn't even really fucking matter. It basically
well,
he worked.
for the song,
Okay.
that song's like his turning point of like, oh, he's like my best friend, whatever. I need to. I'm saying this. If you've actually watched the film, or if you do actually watch the film, what I say might be nonsense. But a film which just wore me down. I was like, okay, why would you have a musical number? You would have a musical number if that's his realization that friendship is magic and I need to save Watson. But my note for that is, has Will Ferrell singing ever been funny? Apart from We're Off to Kill the Ladies Man, because that's
Um,
great.
Step Brothers, when he's actually
Oh,
singing,
yeah,
the
true. The Nina, the Penta, the Santa Maria. Yeah,
and
Boats and Hose is
Boats and
funny, but
Hose,
that's rapping
and
again.
even
So,
no,
yeah.
but no, when he's doing his like Ave Maria or whatever at the end, isn't it? When
Oh,
he does
yeah,
his
yeah,
proper, tenor or
yeah,
soprano voice or whatever,
yeah,
and I think that's smart and separate because it's set up that he's a terrible, stupid singer, and then we're gonna
yeah,
actually deliver a really good performance at the end, and it's like, oh, the
yeah,
old bait and switch. I get that. You get that, Mr.
yeah,
Farrell. But just to have a
yeah,
sing song. I mean, John C. Reilly likes a sing song too. They like a sing
yeah,
song,
yeah.
song and dance man again, vaudeville, whatever. That's they're stage performers. In essence, that's what they learn from. That's what they know.
Yeah, John C. Riley in particular is like a musician and
Yeah.
like tours with like his band and stuff. But like, yeah, I guess I tried to like identify this as like a recent Will Ferrell trend of him going off the boil. But you're right, he kind of has been doing it all along. The thing I thought of was the musical he did with Ryan Reynolds, the Christmas movie,
Uh,
where like that I think just is a full on musical, and it's like it's hard.
he likes a song on SNL.
Yeah.
And see, this also pissed me off as well because I so I think it might have been why I walked out when I realized it was quite straight up singing montage between the two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Mhm.
thought, and this is where again I'm making up a better film. I thought Hugh Laurie's voice was gonna intercut into his head and
Yeah,
sing
oh, that
bet
would have
and
been
start
good.
like
Yeah.
out singing him, like singing it back.
Try and yeah,
Yeah.
talk him round of like, no, he's guilty all
No,
along.
no, no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
because, yeah, Laurie's a better singer, because I was like, why would you get Hugh
Oh,
Laurie?
okay,
He's a
yeah.
good singer. And I was like, you're going to upstage him and like solve it or
Oh,
something,
okay,
like,
yeah.
no,
I
because
thought that you were meaning like a third voice
that would
in
have been
like
funny.
he's singing like
Yeah,
Watson's
yeah, that would have
innocent,
been good
Watson's saying
too.
like I'm
We could have
innocent, and
had
then Laura
Tom.
comes in with like he's
There was
guilty.
going to be, yes, even, yeah, a floating head style like joke.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking,
Like
but yeah,
telepathic. Yeah, yeah.
there's so much I was thinking about. And as soon as I realized it was straight up and there was nothing, I was like, no, it's all right. I need my nicotine fix.
Hugh Laurie's like that Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy. He's like, sure, I'll do a day, but if you want me to head to the studio and record vocals, that's going to be
That's
extra.
gonna cost you money. Can I play my banjo? Like, no, no, no. Okay.
So I don't have a notes for this, but to just wrap up the plot. So he then frees Watson and he realizes that, in fact, Kelly MacDonald is Moriarty's daughter and Moriarty is heading to America or something. They're gonna blow up the Titanic with
The
the
Queen on
Queen
it.
on it or
Which,
something.
right. So yeah, wrapping it up. Kelly MacDonald is Moriarty's daughter.
And we have the payoff for her being a nymphomaniac, which is her henchmen are all the famous men she's
Yes,
slept with.
yes.
So she has a kind of like gang of like, yeah, gangs of men who do her bidding, like tying people up and whatever. They're all like Chaplin,
Yep. You
Twain,
free sight, and
like
I
Gandhi,
liked it them
etc.
fighting the kids. It's a
Yeah.
recycled joke, but I liked when the two girls or two female leads were oh, we're gonna fight a bunch of lasses, and they're like, yeah, American
Yeah.
girls, and they pull out guns instantly. I was like, okay, you're playing on something that's made me laugh, but half a smile.
Yeah.
Okay, my last note. So they're gonna blow up the fucking Titanic. Holmes and Watson solve the fucking day, boot the bomb. Holmes does a big speech.
Well, we do have. I'll just interrupt with my other note. This is another bit that made me laugh. Another good Mind Palace joke is Holmes gets distracted
Because he's in
by
love. Yes.
Lauren. He's in love with Cat
Yes.
Girl, Lauren Lapkus.
Well, he's like, if I defuse the, he's like, if I'm going to defuse the bomb, I need to hit the sprinkler system, and then she appears, and he's like, and then kiss Lauren Lapkus or whatever, and he's like, no, wait, then everybody dies, and the Queen's body explodes, and then
Yeah,
like
exactly. She like short circuits his like mind palace where he's calculating of like, do this, knock bomb. Oh no, Cat Girl blown up. Do this, kiss Cat Girl. Oh no, bomb blown up. And he's just like, he can't strategize because he's thinking about her too much, or can't think of any eventuality which doesn't involve killing her or the bomb going off. And so Watson has the mind palace.
And
so
they save the day, they boot the bomb. It leads to a joke that is delivered terribly but almost lands. Is with the on this day, when your friends and families go out on the boat, they will, on the Titanic, they will thank this one man, Dr. Watson, for putting them there. And it's delivered poorly, it's worded poorly because they give away the punchline too quickly. They should have saved it till the end, like obvious rookie mistakes. But okay, that's quite funny. And then basically the film's over.
Well, this is where we get our Billy Zane cameo,
Billy Zane,
which you've mentioned earlier. Billy Zane's on the Titanic, of course, and like your friend, you should listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
But Billy Zane's there, and just because Billy Zane was in Titanic,
so forever. It's a payday for Billy Zane, I assume. A free lunch.
Yeah.
A free lunch. You got to go to the buffet, the spread.
Listen, you pay for your own flights to the UK, and we're going to give you a free lunch.
Exactly. So the anachronistic timeline pissed me off here at this point. I'm just wrapping up because I was like, the Titanic's like 1910, isn't it? Something like that. I think Victoria was long dead by then.
1912, I want to say.
Okay, 1912. Yeah. Victoria's dead at least a decade because it's King. I remember it's King George or whatever at the time. And then when they go to the Wild West to find Moriarty, and it's like 1864 or something, and then I was like, it clicked in my brain. I was like, with all the oi governor, penny for your fucking days, all the twist characters, and I just was like, wait a minute, what fucking year is this? Like, what decade is this? What century is this set in? Like, is it just olden days?
And Donald Trump is president of the United States
and I was just like, none of the references bugged me, but the timeline things bugged me for some really fucking bizarre reason. Like, I should have just rolled with it, but I was like, at least be a bit consistent. Like, I know to fucking, like I say, the audience, they're not going to know. It's the olden days. It's pre-World War II. Yeah. It might as well be.
Yeah, these dumb fucks in the audience who don't know who Mark Twain is.
Somewhere between.
Aren't going to get any.
It's somewhere between the medieval period and World War II. And, that's enough. We'll just fucking do that there. And then that's it. It's over. I'm done. Yeah, that's it.
Would you go and see the sequel?
I would. If it wasn't them, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want. This would put me off watching any of Ethan Cohen or whatever his fucking name is, any of his films. It would puts me off Will Ferrell further, which is a shame because I love Will Ferrell. I don't want to see him and John C. Reilly for another, unless they have a real passion project and they're having a thing they really want to do together. It put me off comedies, to be honest. I don't want to see, and thankfully there is no sequel, so no.
Well, there is no sequel because this film, while barely coming within striking distance, coming within like pissing distance of making its budget back, was critically panned and loathed by audiences. IMDb trivia says, according to Deadline, after disastrous test screenings, Sony attempted to sell the film to Netflix, which declined. So if Netflix is turning you down,
all right.
Oh, geez, Martin's clowning on me.
I want to say this as well, though. I really dislike this film. I really, really strongly dislike this film. It's not the worst Razzie film we've watched so far. There's films I've hated more.
No.
I don't think it warrants the critical reception.
No.
Any of the sort of, what would you say, Get Hard or whatever it was, the prison one he was in.
Yeah, it's or like any Sandman movies.
Sandman.
In fact, Sandman movies are worse because like some of the one in which he cures cancer is kind of like offensive.
Yeah.
And like like there's no yellow face in this. So
Yeah.
like it's beating I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. Like
There,
it's
there's
this is just a bad
this is a
comedy.
bad comedy. Yeah, it's exactly. I was like, I've definitely seen worse. I stand by the worst comedy I've ever went to see in the cinema was The Sitter with Jonah Hill.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
fucking wrong. It made me again. This made me smile a couple of times, and there's enough to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
you like pay attention. I
Yeah.
don't really
This
understand
is just sad.
it.
This made me sad more than most comedies.
It didn't make me like want to watch. Like I watched it, like it was an easy watch.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't fucking miserable. But yeah, it isn't good though, and I don't want to make that sound better. It's just maybe like, what did you say? Its reception was like bottom 5% or something. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's somewhere around. It should be around like a 27% in my opinion. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I don't think it should be held up as the worst film at all.
So you don't think this is Razzie worthy then?
I haven't looked at this year's awards, so I
Yeah.
I would 100% understand Kelly MacDonald getting a nod. I don't think she would win.
Yeah.
I think supporting
Yeah.
actress Will Ferrell could at least get a nod. The one I would definitely say is maybe worst screenplay because it's a poor idea.
Yeah.
It's 9 jokes stretched out. Doesn't need to be a Sherlock Holmes film. Doesn't need to be a Will Ferrell film. It doesn't really need to be a film
Yeah.
because the Downey Juniors are bordering on that comedic element anyway. I think for fun and stuff, it doesn't need to exist, and it's poor script. So yeah, other categories I can see nods. I don't think this is a worst picture winner or nomination though.
I think this was Razzie worthy insofar as like, do I think this was the worst film of the year? Probably not. It's just a kind of like bad comedy, but it's so like incompetent that I can understand. Like it's not good, and on that basis, I'm not going to fight
Yeah,
for
no,
it.
I'm not fighting for it. And
if this,
you could once you read out the winners and noms, I could be like, okay, fair fucking play. It should have deserved it. I'm expecting there to be worse. In 2018, I expect there to be worse. I had a miserable time.
I'm confident there is.
Yeah.
So another couple things to cover. So during the opening days of its Christmas 2018 release, exhibitors reported an astonishing number of walkouts.
Which I don't.
It's not walkout
no,
bad.
No.
And you think walkouts are normally like offensive or misrepresentative films, like people walking out of Mother because like, oh no, they ate a baby, or like walking out of Crimes of the Future or gross things or things which have been missold. Whereas like, unless you're like a big Trump fan and you accidentally go and see this.
But even then, I mean, like walk out a film for me is
if you're triggered by this, if you're the world's softest Trump fan.
Yeah, and I don't even think Mother's a good example of a walkout film because I like we talked about our love for Mother, but
yeah. You're listening to Watching Mother, the podcast in which we discuss Mother every week.
It's if you expect a film to be something and it's really not, if you go in blind, Mother was advertised as like a horror film. If you go and see that in 15 minutes and you're like, no, I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
I've been hoodwinked. I go to see Punch Drunk Love and I expect a romantic.
I wanted to see hoodwinked.
Yeah, I expected Punch Drunk Love, the trailer to be romantic comedy or whatever. This is not what it is. I don't want to watch this film. That's okay. I don't have anything. Who the fuck is going to see a Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly Holmes and Watson film thinking it was going to be anything but this?
Exactly.
So yeah.
Good point. Yeah. And then many critics decried the film for being horribly unfunny and shockingly incompetent on the technical level, with sloppy editing and several shots out of focus. I'll confess here, maybe this is just my lack of eye. I didn't notice it on a technical level, I didn't notice any out of focus shots. And I wouldn't say technically it's edited poorly. I think it's like poorly paced, poorly performed, poorly written. And it's like very flabby with not any pace. But I wouldn't say like it's bad. Like it's like the editor's done their job without cutting this down to like 20 minutes.
I didn't notice anything abhorrently like stand out bad. Some of it's cheap, you can tell that with your budget. You were saying, some of it's done as quick and easy as we can. But I would never have said it was any moments where I was like, oh, this is incompetently bad. This is I didn't notice any out of focus shots. I wasn't paying the greatest attention, but nothing that was like Ed Wood level or real bad.
Yeah, we're just working class heroes here, aren't we, Kyle? Of like, technically it's fine, like come for the above the line talent for sure, but like all those working class people, like all those working stiffs behind the scenes, they're doing their job and you just leave them alone. Like they're doing a perfectly adequate job with not great material. Okay, we've kind of again also covered the smallest change you
Yeah.
could make to the movie. For me, it's just you remove references to 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and this movie is better.
Yeah.
You cut out all those references, and immediately it's a slightly better film.
If you're not even doing what I said with like recasting or anything, I think the easiest way to make this so much better is if it was half an hour and it was like a TV special of some sort. You know, if you presented like John C. Riley and John C. Riley and Will Ferrell being characters, you know, have them be
Yeah,
two famous duo, Batman and Robin one week. Next week they're going to be Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Then they're going to be blah 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 blah. Cut the jokes in
yeah,
half. Cut out all the fluff. Cut out all the shit that's not needed.
yeah.
People would love it if it was on TV and it was half an hour.
But we will give the final word on the matter to a Mr. Steve Coogan, who's speaking on the Empire podcast. We'd also like to extend the invitation if you want to come on our podcast, Steve. You're more than welcome.
More than welcome.
Maybe to talk about the Jimmy Savile project. Steve Coogan said, I think in 20 years' time, when the dust has settled and people are able to look at Holmes and Watson objectively, I think people will say it's still rubbish.
It's only going to get worse as time
Yeah,
is. It's
exactly.
only going to be perceived as worse. It's only going to get more dated. It's only going to get the jokes are only going to get older. So yeah, no, like I agree with him. I do.
Okay, and join us in the second half when we'll be covering the other winners and nominees for the year of 2019. Welcome back to the second half of the podcast, in which we cover all of the other nominees from the year of 2019. So, Worst Picture, as we know, Holmes and Watson was the winner. The other nominees: Winchester. Have you seen Winchester?
No, so I'm going to preface this because I haven't looked at these. I assume I'm not going to have seen anything. So like before we go, I'm just going to say there's two films I thought about from 2018 that I
Yeah.
did see that I thought okay they might pop up and I thought they were bad. Mamma Mia 2, Here We Go
Mm-hmm.
Again, which was dreadful, and The Meg, the Jason Statham shark film. That's it. I was like, okay. If they're here, I've got something to talk about. If not, I'm in my Twilight Black zone. I'm not gonna have seen anything. I haven't even heard of Winchester though, so I assume you've seen it.
Well, I actually watched it for this podcast.
Oh,
Because
love it.
I'd heard enough interesting things. Like it's the
Okay.
horror with Helen Mirren, and like some people said it was really good, some people said it was dreadful. It's one of those like
Okay.
polarizing, scary house movies.
Okay.
Because
Okay. Okay.
she's from the Winchester family, like the inventors of the repeating rifle.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's interesting. I can't quite make my mind up on it. It's certainly not Razzie worthy. The only thing I
Hmm.
really want to talk about is the guy. So the ghost, the boogin, the bad thing that haunts the Winchester mansion is because like his brother was killed with a Winchester or whatever, and they film like a really dark execution scene,
Okay.
and it uses the Wilhelm scream.
Okay.
Like
In
it's just the
2018.
most comic. It's the most comic moment, which made me think like, what's the most serious movie to use a Wilhelm scream?
Hmm.
Like, could you get a movie about
Like
like a
Schindler's List. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, or like yeah, like some sort of genocidal like Blood Diamond
Uh-huh.
or something? If there's just
Yeah.
like because it seemed out of place in this, and I want to know if this
Hmm.
is the least the sort of
That's
least
something
yeah
interesting. No, I'll have to look that up actually. That's an interesting. Oh,
yeah.
oh well. So not Razzie. Not Razzie though.
No. So listeners, hit us up with your suggestions for worst use of a Wilhelm scream.
Mhm. The legit ones as well. I do want to know something where, like you say, it makes it stand out because I don't hear them anymore. It's a dying art. It's
Yeah.
almost like we're saying with Holmes and Watson. I haven't heard. You know, it's 100 years now. Played out unless it's something that yeah they're trying to. I think I heard it in Star Wars or something last.
Yeah.
Because obviously.
Yeah, you have to.
But You have to, but like, no, okay. No, yeah, listeners, let us know.
Next nominee, Robin Hood. So one of the nominated producers, I don't normally read them out, but one of the nominated producers is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay. I don't know this Robin Hood. This isn't Russell Crowe's Robin Hood, is it?
No, it's not
I think
2010's Robin Hood. That I have
shows
seen.
my time loop.
I haven't seen this. Again, this was like a Canada thing where I was maybe slightly more because I was paying to go to the cinema there. I was maybe slightly more discriminatory in what I chose to go and see. And this is the Robin
Okay.
Hood where they're kind of wearing leather jackets and stuff, like Taron Egerton's Robin Hood.
I was just going to say who is Robin Hood here?
It's genuinely like a quite impressive cast. If you look at the cast list, it's almost
Okay.
like, how on earth has no one spoken about this film? Like, how is it this
Mm-hmm.
forgettable? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything about it. So we have Taron Egerton as Robin Hood, of course. Jamie
Okay.
Foxx as Yaha Ib Umar, also known as Little John and Robin's best friend.
Okay.
Ben Mendelsohn, I think he's great as the Sheriff of Nottingham. Eve Hewson, better known as Bono's daughter, as Maid Marian. Tim Minchin as Friar
To
Tuck.
mention.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay.
Jamie
I'm
Dornan.
intrigued now.
Jamie Dornan as
Jamie
Will
Dornan.
Tillman / Will Scarlet.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders Paul Anderson, not to be confused with Paul Thomas Anderson or Paul W.S. Anderson, as Guy of Gisborne,
Who's
and
he in Peaky Blinders?
Arthur,
Oh, okay.
and F. Murray Abraham as Franklin. So,
That's a strange fucking cast, eh?
yeah.
Jamie Foxx and Tim Minchin. I'm intrigued now. And Bono's daughter. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Future special, perhaps. And produced by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
So nothing to say there. The Happy Time Murders, which I have seen. The Happy
Okay.
Time Murders is the Muppet Noir, which
Yeah, it's the one with what's her
Melissa
name?
McCarthy.
That's the one. Yeah, I was going to go see this. It's kind of like I was saying with Holmes and Watson, the negative backlash. It was really poorly received at the time, and I was like, oh, because appealing enough. I don't like Muppets. I don't really like puppets. But like
I don't like
I thought, oh,
marionettes.
and I
I
don't.
don't like puppets, and
I,
I fucking hate Muppets.
and but it's an intriguing concept because I think it's a Henson. Is it? Is it actually
It's
Brian
not an
Henson?
official. Yeah, it's Brian Henson, but it's kind of like bastard Muppets. Like I think
Okay.
because he's the disgraced left Henson Studios or whatever. Yeah,
Okay. So you've seen it though.
I have seen it because Muppet film noir, you would struggle to find a film that ticks more of my boxes. And maybe this is a victim of expectations, but I was like, oh, this is going to be great because it's going to be like that kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's going to be like a
Hmm.
really good contrast between light and
Hmm.
dark. And it isn't any of that. It's just like,
Okay.
ha ha ha, look at this puppet being lewd. I don't like Team America, controversially, but it's
Oh, see,
just
that's my marionette film. So yeah, I was going to say if it isn't Who Framed Roger's Rabbit, it can't do what Team America's already done
yeah,
10, 15 years earlier now.
yeah,
So if you're going that lewd, crude way, like it's been done, like it's not going to
yeah,
shock anyone anymore. They are an outdated kind of concept to be done to death now.
yeah.
So yeah, you have to go the Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of route. So if you don't, then shame on you. No wonder you're the bastard outlaw child now.
Yeah, because like Peter Jackson had his Meet the Feebles movie like in the 80s, which is
I
already
mean,
kind of doing
yep.
kind of doing this.
No, I mean,
So
I always think of when you moan about the Community episode, they're
yeah,
all bloody Muppets. Like that's played out by then,
yeah.
and yeah. Felt isn't funny. I think that's a Michael Donahue quote from SNL, like season one.
Oh, okay.
And you can't write for Felt, and Felt isn't funny. And I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course we have what perhaps should be the winner, Gotti.
Okay. Oh fuck, Gotti.
Yeah,
Oh, Gotti slipped under my brain.
yeah.
I haven't. I know of Gotti. I think that's his future special
Oh, okay,
because
yeah.
it's. I feel like our boy there has escaped quite a lot of Razzie-ness
Yeah.
so far. So yeah, shit, I totally forgot. You've seen it? Have you seen
I
it?
have seen it. That's why I'm reluctant when you were like, that might be a future special. I was like, oh, please don't make me watch Gotti again. I would happily watch The Fanatic again because John Travolta
Oh,
does
the
Taxi
Fanatic.
Driver. Incredible.
Yeah,
John, Tra-
I've seen the Fanatic. Fanatic is I Fanatic you had to see like when I heard the buzz about it and especially how Travolta's performance
yeah,
was, I was like, I need to see this. I need to see him like play a special needs autism sort of role.
autism
I
Travis
need to see
Bickle.
the
Not that Travis
I
Bickle
need
couldn't
to
have
see the
autism, but yeah.
no, but done in the filter through John Travolta, who taken it dead serious. I had a great time watching the Fanatic. I watched that any time. That's my example of a great bad movie. It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
I imagine Gotti is the opposite of a good bad movie.
precisely.
It's just shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that brings us on to Worst Director, where the nominees are Kevin Connolly for Gotti, better known as E from Entourage.
Oh, okay. This is his directorial debut.
No, actually, he directed a bunch of television, including episodes of Entourage. He directed
Okay.
something which is black on Wikipedia, so I don't know if it's a feature. He directed Gardener of Eden in 2007,
Hmm.
and then he directed Dear Eleanor in 2016. So, no, he's directed he's a
He's a
seasoned
seasoned
pro. Yeah.
director. Yeah, yeah.
It's funny though because Gotti seems like a movie that should exist in the world of Entourage. I can see Jeremy Piven being, Vinny, I got you back end on the Gotti biopic. So yeah, it's not good. He's well deserved.
Okay.
James Foley, 50 Shades Freed.
I know that name. Why do I know that name?
He's the Glengarry Glen Ross guy.
Okay, there we go. That's why I
He's
know
the
that name.
we've discussed him before because he's the person who
That's
gets
why.
brought in to replace Sam Taylor
That's why I
Wood.
remember the name.
Yeah.
Yes. You've seen Fifty Shades Freed. It's escaped Worst Picture nomination.
Yeah.
So that's a surprise. It must be better than the winner of Fifty Shades of Grey.
I
Is this the third one?
yeah, so I would
Yeah.
arguably say this is the worst one.
Yeah. I don't imagine they're improving in quality as they go down. I'm sure I've said that in that episode. So how it's just directed badly, but overall it's okay and passable.
Well, we kind of harped on Mr. Razzie on the Emoji Movie episode for 50 Shades Darker and the nominations there where he like continues to be on like Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson. We're like, you've been to this well already.
Yeah.
I feel like you either need to like either it's nominated for Worst Picture and you go for all the same people again, or you kind of need to let it slide completely. Because
Hmm.
to me, this is the worst one. Like the first one, as I've said, kind of a bad version of maybe like a good story. Whereas this is
Hmm.
just like because it is just a Twilight thing, and that starts off as a somewhat simple romance, and then by the end, you've got wars with vampires and werewolves and robotic babies and imprinting and whatever. And this does the same
Hmm.
thing, but with kink. So like they get married, I think, at the start of this, and she's like pregnant, and it just doubles down on like gunfire and crazy stuff happening. And so this to me
Okay.
is the worst and the most ridiculous of the trilogy. And so it's weird to
I'd
see.
imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have Brian Henson, the Happy Time Murders. Yeah, well deserved.
Hmm.
The Spear Rig Brothers for Winchester. Mm, yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on whether Winchester deserves to be here. Kind of laughable in some bits, but has enough going
Yeah.
for it that like I probably wouldn't nominate them.
Off the top of your head, would they have directed anything I would have known? That's not a name that rings a bell to me.
No, I don't think so. They did the Ethan Hawke film Predestination. You're aware of that?
No, I know of it. I've not seen it.
Daybreakers.
Nah.
They went on to do Jigsaw,
Well, I have
interestingly.
seen
So
Jigsaw. You know, I'm a Saw sucker. Yeah, Jigsaw ain't no good. Yeah, okay, fair. I mean, at least they had some experience with horror, though, and it kind of explains it. At
yeah,
least they're probably competent, like you're saying.
yeah.
Okay, fair. So,
And then the winner goes to Ethan Cohen for Holmes and Watson. So once again, we forgot to discuss the winners that were relevant to the film. But yeah, Ethan Cohen, we've
yeah,
kind of covered it in the first half.
yeah.
The movie is
It,
like yeah, he's to blame
he
for
is to blame for a lot of it. You know, I'm. Yeah, I mean, how much can you actually direct when it's probably Will Ferrell not listening to you and just
Mm,
doing it? And but It's your film.
In post, you can cut him down in
You can
post.
cut him out. You can cut him and John C. Reilly out. I'm sure of it. Yeah, no, you've got to take that one on the chin.
Worst actor, Bruce Willis, Death Wish as Paul Kersey.
I love the Death Wish films,
Yeah.
and I refuse to see this one. This is me. See, this is me as I'm getting older now, and I just don't want to watch something that's I don't want to see ruined. I don't want to see my beloved stuff I like. I like Death Wish like 3 and 4. I just like Bronson. I don't. No, I had no interest, especially at this time with Bruce Willis as well. Like before we knew, this is probably towards the onset of his illness and things. But
perhaps,
I at the time being unaware of that, like rather than dunk on him or be miserable, I just didn't. I like nope, not for me.
It's good. You're growing. You're maturing.
I
I hope to do that one day, but.
So you've seen Death Wish then, have you?
No, I don't. No. I don't care for Death Wish. I'm continuing to watch Star Wars, or like I don't know what my equivalent of you and Death Wish is. John Travolta in Gotti as John Gotti.
Not the winner though, so that's a surprise.
No, he's not the winner. Yeah, he's bad. He's not Moose Dunbar bad, but he is bad. And then we have Will Ferrell, Holmes Watson as Sherlock Holmes. This, even just from those two, this is a stacked category.
This is not the winner. I thought this was dead. I thought this was dead certain.
No.
I would have put my house on Will Ferrell and worst screenplay. They would have been the two I thought would be guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm ready. I'm ready.
But yeah, we agree. He's Razzie worthy certainly because he just phones it in.
The laziest.
Phones it in is perhaps too generous.
It really is. It's just one
he
of
calls it in. Yeah. He mails it in. He
almost
carrier pigeons it in.
It's one of those performances that are so bad where you're kind of thinking, I love you. I used to like you. Did I? Was I wrong? Do I have to reassess everything? Were you always like this?
It's a gaslighting performance. It just makes you doubt everything that's come before. And then, speaking of abuse, Johnny Depp, voice only, Sherlock Gnomes as Sherlock Gnomes.
Oh shit, Sherlock Gnomes. So there's two Razzie nominated Sherlock Holmes films this year. Sherlock, whatever the fuck it's called, Sherlock Gnome is the spin-off, right, to Romeo and Juliet.
Which was that your Asda era?
Just after it, I believe. I don't know, maybe at my time. Maybe it's just at my time. I've seen it on something, and it's better than it should be, I guess, because it should be bottom of the barrel. I could see why it was appealing to kids, stupid kids and stuff. Doesn't warrant a spin-off. Okay.
So just context for listeners, me and Kyle worked at Asda. That was how we met. And Romeo and Juliet, there was a year where that was just on the TVs. That was the DVD they used to demonstrate, to display the TVs. And Romeo and Juliet was on hard rotation, just like...
My hard rotation will always be Santa Claus 3 with Martin Short, which because I was a terrible worker, despite watching it on a loop for 20, I still watched it it's the 30th time now. Maybe Martin Short's going to do it now, Maybe it's a grower, not, like I just have to learn to like it. And that film's burned in my brain though.
Yeah. So back to Johnny Depp for a moment. It's weird because he doesn't generally go for voice performances. Like even with the Emoji Movie, he doesn't nominate anyone.
I don't think he should. I think maybe its own category, like worst voiceover.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because you can phone it in, you can do weird, bad things, but it's hard to really judge it as a worst actor because voice acting's not the same as live action. It's a different art, it's a different skill, and yes, you can be really bad at it. I don't imagine Johnny Depp, without seeing it, is horrifically bad. He is a capable voice actor as well.
It's a can of worms once you open it. Like, you either have to exclude it, or every year you're probably going to have, like, one or two noms, whether it's, like, Pauly Shore or whatever. Like, there are always, like, dreadfully flat.
Yep. But it's
or celebrities, like musicians who are cast, like the Ice Age movies or Hotel Transylvanias or whatever, or like the DreamWorks movies where it's like, oh, you've cast someone clearly exclusively for the end of movie dance number. Like Katy Perry's in this and she's delivering a flat vocal performance because all the Smurfs are going to sing.
I would prefer to have a worst animated section and a worst voiceover section. You don't have to go too
Yeah.
into depth. You merge, genders and just have worst voiceover performance. But I would like animated because I don't think it's fair. There are very different criteria on what makes them. But I mean, directing's different for animation as well. It's a totally different
Yeah.
kind of skill to do. Yeah, no, I don't, and I'm not starring Johnny Depp here and trying to dick up for him because I'm sure he didn't give his best. But like,
Yeah.
just like you say, it's a can of worms. I don't like it. Keep it out.
Yeah, my instinct is that this was probably as the Johnny Depp Amber Heard things were kicking off, and Mr. Razzie wanted to make everyone he wanted to make clear that he did not stand for any of that nonsense, and so Johnny Depp's like a moral worth nomination as opposed to a
I'm
performance
expecting a
value
worse
one.
screen combo for
Yeah,
his
yeah.
abuse or something coming up. I'm expecting it.
Well, speaking of moral value, that brings us on to the winner, Mr. Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States, Death of a Nation, and Fahrenheit 11/9 as himself.
Okay, wow. All right, talk about fucking can of worms. Right, I'm putting on record now. If he doesn't nominate him for Ghosts Can't Do It,
Yeah,
I will be spitting blood if he's
yeah,
in an actual movie because I don't like this. I don't like.
yeah,
I know we have to get to our Hillary film eventually. I talked about it on Mike Lindell
yeah.
endlessly. I don't like documentaries and real performances counting as because you're not. I
No,
mean, unless
it's stupid.
it's just so fucking nonsense. And you've taken away a good award from like Travolta.
Yeah.
He hasn't won something in years. Give him something. I haven't even heard what was the first one. I've heard of Fahrenheit, the sequel.
Death of
No.
a Nation's one of the 1,000 Dinesh D'Souza things.
Uh,
Because, again, kind of worms, but like, Dinesh D'Souza churns out movies at like an incredibly prolific rate. So why is Donald Trump not winning every year? Why did he not sweep the Razzies
every year, yeah, just
for the 4
everything.
years of his presidency?
Yeah.
Just
And why is it not a worse picture then? Again, it's these fucking what are the rules?
yeah,
Like, is it
yeah.
no, he's the only bad thing about, Death of a Nation. It was a great film. Everyone else was wonderful in it, but Trump let it down.
Well, Michael Moore directed him to a Razzie-worthy performance in 11/9. So is Fahrenheit 11/9 technically a Razzie-winning movie now?
Technically it is, yeah. What you're trying to shit on ends up shitting, further. Oh, whatever. No, again, I'm not here to fucking defend Trump or any nonsense. I'm just here to say that take away your animated, like two nominations here pissed me off, and you've taken away like I was talking about the Meg. I was like, where's
Yeah,
there's that's a bad performance. Like there's
yeah,
people that don't give a shit. You've robbed Will Ferrell as well. I mean,
yeah.
he has never worked so little to win a Razzie. And like, nah, I'm not happy with that one.
Like we spoke about, the degree to which taking a break and escaping and just forgetting about Donald Trump is like a sign of privilege or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like you'd think you can't fucking watch Holmes and Watson without Sherlock Holmes turning up. You can't fucking sit down and look at your winners for a bad movie awards ceremony without Donald Trump turning up. Is there no refuge? Is there nowhere you can go to just forget about him for one fucking moment? Like I don't know. It just makes me like I haven't been on Twitter to see what if Mr. Razzie's been like sounding off about Donald Trump getting indicted, but I can just see him tweeting back and forth with Jeff Tiedrich, the like Trump resistance guy. Like we did it finally.
I want to know if he's going to continue his streak of shitting on children and give Barron Trump a Razzie because I would be so fucking happy. But no, yeah, what the fuck? It's nonsense. Does mean though that Donald Trump's now eligible to come on the podcast as a Razzie winner. So Mr. Trump,
Zooming in from prison,
if you want him on, there's always space. We can watch Ghosts Can't Do It together. It'd be great. We can talk about Bo Derek. It'll be wonderful.
Okay, moving on. Worst actress. Amanda Seyfried from The Clapper as Judy.
I was just ready to say it, right? I was just ready to fucking say it. Here we're on the category where it's all the nominations for films that don't fucking pop up ever again.
Yeah.
The one thing wrong about this film is her ex's performance. What the fuck is the Clapper? I've never heard of it.
The Clapper's some comedy with Ed Helms. Eddie Crumble is a widowed contract actor who works as an audience member for infomercials. So
Okay.
presumably it has something to do with like clapping and the sign, maybe, like, I don't know,
Oh
clapperboard,
yeah.
clapper,
Clap
like
on, clap
clapping
off
in
the
the
Clapper.
clapping, yeah, or
Yeah.
clapping in like audiences for. It's based on the novel Eddie Crumble is the Clapper, which was written by the director and writer. So, like, yeah. Oh, and he directed A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. So, interesting. No idea what to expect from the Clapper, but I kind of like Amanda Seyfried,
I
and it's
do too.
difficult to think she could be that bad.
Again, if it's the only thing that's bad about the film is Amanda's performance, it's like, it's a bit vindictive.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying. Will Ferrell was bollocks, but everyone else was bollocks. You can pick out other
Yeah.
people. No one gave a shit. The film was bad all round. But I like Amanda Seyfried. I think she's capable of great work. So yeah, strange. Again, I haven't watched enough movies, so I'm just picking women at random. And again, where's Mamma Mia 2? I'm going out my fucking mind here,
Oh, true. Yeah. Amanda
Wait,
Seyfried for Mamma Mia too.
like, I'm going out my fucking mind here. If it doesn't pop up, like, so I was thinking worst supporting actress was going to be Cher, because I was like,
Yeah.
you're gonna pick all these easy ones,
Do
but
you
yeah.
believe?
And she honestly looks like a reanimated corpse. She looks like a marionette in that fucking film.
She has a kind of like camp, ironic quality to it, where I appreciate just like animatronic Cher coming down the stairs. But yeah, like it's uncanny, but I kind of dig it. But I can see how.
I can see
I can see
if
how.
I'm being
Like they've
objective,
auto-tuned her
yeah.
appearance.
She's been AI upscaled. If it was objectively though, I get it in a campy, fun quality. I'm saying
Yeah.
if you're being objective and you're what you kind of should be when you're shitting on people, that's the stuff to go for. But no, apparently,
Listen, I'm just divorcing myself from like I liked Mamma Mia, here we go again. So when the stands come out, they can tear you limb from limb. But I'm climbing out of the
I
piranha
also haven't
infested
seen the first
waters.
film, so like I don't know what to judge.
Well, there we
I
go.
don't know
There
what the
we
bar
go. You
is.
can't appreciate that you're not attached to the characters as we are.
But yeah, so Amanda was great in that apparently, unless she wins it or supporting actress or some bollocks.
Then we have Helen Mirren in Winchester as Sarah Winchester. Not gonna stand for any of that. She's the queen. Like even if you don't like the movie, she's perfectly fine. Then we have Amber Heard from
see, it's all coming
London
together.
Fields. Yeah, as Nicholas Six.
What the fuck's London Fields?
So I watched a little bit of London Fields because it's a like film noir with Billy Bob Thornton, and Amber Heard is like the femme fatale, which initially I was like, oh, that's kind of a good casting for her because like she has the kind of look and she probably doesn't have to say or act too much, but she has in the little bit I watched, she has a couple lines like, ooh, I get the sense you might not be great in this.
Yeah.
But again, probably moral value of Mr. Razzies wanting to both sides like, listen, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, you're each as bad as each other. Grow up. Don't make me. You'll be a winner next year if you don't snap out of it. And then we have Jennifer Garner in Peppermint as Riley North.
Yeah, see, what the fuck? I don't know what Peppermint is. What is Peppermint, Jericho?
So I think Peppermint is Jessica Garner's John Wick. The plot follows a mother who transforms herself into a vigilante in the quest for revenge against the drug cartel that killed her daughter and husband.
Yeah, okay, so it's John Wick, but without the dog. Okay.
But your husband and your daughter are your dog.
But like the dog's the emotional impact, isn't it? Yeah, have you ever seen it?
I haven't seen it, no. It's funny because Jennifer Garner was like she was in like maybe it's just one or maybe it's a bunch, but I feel like she was doing faith films. Like she's in that film like Heaven is for Realsies about the little boy that dies and goes to heaven. And I feel like she might have been in a couple other ones.
But she was also Daredevil girl. What was her name?
Yeah, Elektra. But that's 2005.
Yeah,
this is I mean like in this period she's doing faith films and being John Wick on the side.
I also mean why you could go to the John Wick, you can go back, like you're gonna pick someone who's capable of doing that. Like if Keanu went off the rails and did, straight to DVD Kirk Cameron movies, he could still pluck him back out because he once was.
Yeah,
you can always bring someone back. You can always redeem
I just think
them.
it's funny to do them both simultaneously. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then worst actress, Melissa McCarthy, The Happy Time Murders as Detective Connie Edwards, and Life of the Party as Deanna Miles.
So, what's the second film?
That's the movie where she's like a divorced mother who goes to college.
Oh,
I haven't seen Life of the Party. I might be misremembering this, but I don't think she is too bad in the Happy Time Murders.
okay.
The way that she annoys me is when she does the Zach Galifianakis kind of like I'm a fat lady, body humor stuff. Whereas in Happy Time Murders, I think she's just angry. She's just like a badass
Yeah,
tough cop
that's
with no time for the Muppet shit.
yeah,
And so I think she's kind of good at that.
that sounds. I was gonna say if she's like that, it's just a way to say if she's not a Muppet, then or like on the same sort
She's
of
the Bob Hoskins.
yeah, yes, then I'm okay with it because she would be a good Bob Hoskins. Like she would
Yeah.
absolutely be. So yeah, okay, I get that. I can see that. I can picture that, and I could. I still don't want to watch it, but I'd be down for it. But I don't think it was advertised like that. I'm sure they advertised it as like you said, the Mike and Molly. I'm a fat girl. I'm a like
Yeah.
a perennial bridesmaids character that kind of
Yeah,
drifted into
exactly.
everything.
Yeah. She's going to fall over and shit herself. Yeah.
Yes.
We know that Mr. Razzie has no qualms about engaging in a bit of the old category fraud. So this is where I would say Kelly MacDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Because spoilers, she's not nominated for Worst Supporting Actress, which
Well,
I think she
bullshit.
actually is.
Yeah, okay,
But
bullshit.
yeah, I would like because we've kind of said none of those leads are worthy, but she's certainly worthy
she
whatever
is
category you choose to put her in.
the other two I will let slide, but Kelly for absolutely failing at Scott. I mean, it's the accent and the performance. I can't. Yeah, no, she should
Yeah.
at least be a nomination.
Yeah, that brings us on to Worst Supporting Actor, Justice Smith for Jurassic World Fallen
Oh,
Kingdom as Franklin Webb.
Fallen
So-
Kingdom was 2018. Shit, I totally forgot that. Who is Justice Smith again? Is he a kid?
He was he was over 18, but he is one of the kids with like he's one of the kids that's like sidelined rapidly. Like he gets chased around in a pod in one of those like Zorbs.
Oh yeah. So that's one. I was going to say that I remember two things about the film: the Zorb with the big
Yeah.
brother and little brother. So he's the big
Yeah.
brother, I assume.
No, it's not the brothers, is
Is it
it?
not?
He's just like an intern or something.
I
Because the
thought-
brothers are in the first Jurassic World.
Is it shit? Is the second one the one with the weaponized dinosaurs? They're on auction.
Yeah, it's the auction
yeah,
where
yeah,
like
where
the
they're,
dinosaur
like-
winks at camera.
yeah. They're splicing them, and I
Yeah,
remember-
and there's a
yeah.
little girl that's cloned.
Yeah, and it's got the mansion, with Dr. Hammond's co-partner, and
James
stuff.
Cromwell.
Yeah. Okay, I'm like coming back to me. I hate that film. Why is that film just? But why is the only bad thing here Justice Smith? Holy shit!
Yeah, that film sucks.
That
and
film
like,
really fucking
yeah,
sucks.
I think they're interns with what's her face, Bryce Dallas Howard. Like she goes off and sets up that like dinosaur
Mhm.
PETA. I think they're like
mhm.
interns or whatever, and they're like, you're gonna go back to the kingdom as it falls, and like because there's him and there's a woman. But I just remember.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember him like loads of people shitting on him. Like he just became like a lightning rod for criticism in the same way that Kelly Marie Tran became like a lightning rod
Yeah,
for Last Jedi,
yeah.
where they're like, we're going to take this ethnic minority young person and just this side character is the reason why my beloved franchise sucks.
I mean, I've still got time for Bryce to pop up and support an actress if we don't know category for not. But I was so gutted that I lost out to for her nomination
Because
for
they're
the
Razzies.
yeah. Well, the third one, I was like, and I haven't seen the third one, sorry, but the second one, she's so talk about phoning it in. And
Yeah.
wow, like at least she tries almost in the first one. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't come down. I don't come down on people that hard, but like when I remember it 5 years later, and I remember how bad. Oh, okay, but I'm so surprised this film's just popping up now. Like you say, lightning rod, but Jesus Christ, he didn't watch it. He's just jumping on the bandwagon. Fuck that.
Yeah, like to say the worst thing is this like young guy who's like
The
perfectly
only bad
fine.
thing about
He's
it.
okay. Yeah,
Screenplay was
exactly.
great. It was well directed. The leads were great. It's
If
just this
only
one
he
little
hadn't been in
minority.
it.
One minority. like,
Do you think when we get to the Lost World year, he will be nominating Jeff Goldblum's daughter?
yeah.
You know, the black girl who does
Yeah.
gymnastics and kicks the raptor. Like, do you
fuck.
think she's gonna nominate
And
him?
I see. This is gonna be curious because when's 3? Is that 01?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's early 2000s. When we get
Yeah.
round to these other Jurassic Parks, I'm curious to see what he picks up on.
Yeah.
But Yeah, okay. Like, move on because I'm getting pissed off at that.
Joel McHale, who just a name drop, I bumped into at TIFF. The Happy Time Murders as Special Agent Campbell.
Oh fuck! And I did not know he was in that. Oh, that's nice.
Jeff Winger himself.
And just bringing up Community with Felt. Yeah, like oh, I like that. I like how I could predict that. How is he in it?
He's kind of not great.
I mean,
kind of phoning it in, kind of a nothing character, potentially Razzie worthy.
did you tell that in person?
That would have been a good Mr. McHale from the Happy Time Murders. Then we have Jamie Foxx from Robin Hood as Little John. Nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx kind of hit and miss.
For every performance I love him in, there's a Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, like
Far From Homecoming, No Way Home.
Whatever one it was. No, it was Amazing Spider-Man, wasn't it?
Amazing Spider-Man 2, but then he's in the...
Yeah, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the worst.
Yeah.
I've told you this in person, how much... if I ever going to walk out of the cinema, that's a performance. It nearly made me do it.
Yeah, one of the few films we've seen together. Just the kiss of death. If me and you go and see it together, no one's going to be happy. And then we have Chris Ludacris Bridges, voice only, Show Dogs as Max.
The Ludacris. I like how they used his real name. I haven't seen, was it Show Dogs? Is that in the Snow Dogs universe? Is that...
I don't know if it is, actually.
I have no idea.
So, do not ask me how I know this, but the only thing I know about Show Dogs is that Will Arnett is in it, and there's a big moral hysteria about Show Dogs because it arguably has like a message that is pro-molestation, because like it's a family comedy, whatever, and the dog gets the dog gets abused or something. Like someone touches the dog inappropriately, or they retrieve drugs from up a dog's ass or something. And someone says, like, the hero says, like, oh, this is just between me and you, or like, don't tell anyone about this. And the dog is like, okay. And I think I saw on Twitter people being like, this is teaching a bad message to kids because kids are going to be molested and they will think, like, if the hero from Show Dogs never told anyone, then I shouldn't tell anyone either.
Holy shit. Oh my god, I didn't expect that. Oh, my chest. Oh my god. Oh, that is wonderful. I need to see this film now. This sounds wonderful. Okay, at least it's got... I mean, Jesus, that's funny. So you haven't seen Ludacris's performance in...
I have not. No. I feel like I've seen Ludacris in something, but not Show Dogs.
We're gonna have to do Show Dogs, uncut, Showgirls, Show Dogs, back to back, double bill.
So yeah, Ludacris is in Fred Claus, Rock and Rolla, Max Payne with Marky Mark,
No
Max Strings Payne. Attached, New Year's Eve. So we're going to be covering him on that.
Oh, okay.
And then a bunch of the Fast films. So yeah, I've certainly seen Luda in a bunch of things.
I can't imagine he's... Again, it's a voiceover though, so I'm going to strike him out of the molesting Show Dogs because it doesn't count.
Yeah. And then worst supporting actor, finally a deserved win for Holmes and Watson, John C. Reilly as Dr. John Watson.
Yeah, I mean, like I said a million times watching it. I get pissed now, though, that Will Ferrell didn't win, because I still think Will's worse.
Yeah, and arguably he's co-lead. Like, he probably has as much screen time as Will Ferrell.
He shares the fucking title of the film with him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The title role.
Mr. Razzie is engaging in toxic anti-Watson culture, where he's like...
He still doesn't give him the fucking recognition that he wanted in the film.
Exactly. Winner goes to John C. Reilly as that guy Sherlock Holmes hangs out with all the time.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even mutter a word and I assumed Will took it. Then I'd be like, yeah, give him the worst screen combo. That's fine. Give him 3 out of 3. But because Will escaped, that's kind of just put me a little bit like, and like you say, he is the lead as well. So like, you could have gave them both an award for worst lead. You know, like I'd have been okay with that.
Yeah. So moving on to a category with an incredible amount of bullshit. Worst supporting actress, Melania Trump, Fahrenheit 11.9 as herself.
I don't have anything to say. I didn't say about Donald. It's the same argument applies here.
It just seems, I don't know, it seems kind of anti-feminist for Mr. Razzie to be damning a woman for the crimes of her husband. I don't think that's very woke of you, Mr. Razzie. That's all I'd like to say. Jazz Sinclair for Slender Woman. Jazz Sinclair for Slender Man as Chloe.
Oh, shit. Oh, Slender Man was this year. I started watching Slender Man. I turned off because life's too short. And I kind of know. I actually had like I remember watching some of those webisodes or something. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
About this years back, and I remember just being, well, you know, it's intriguing. I like a new monster. You know, I've been so fucking beaten down by regurgitating all my favorite horror icons. Like when a new one pops
Are you ready
up,
for the Exorcist remake?
Oh, don't even fucking. No, I'm not. Maybe The Exorcist ends or The Exorcist kills or whatever I'll be up for, but it's a trilogy. Don't even get me started. That's another episode. When we get to Exorcist 2 or something, I'll talk about that. But yeah, no, Slender Man didn't translate to the film the way I was thinking it was gonna. So I was like, I'm out. So I have no idea who this person is, and I have no comment, but surprisingly, just again, it's not surprising at this point, but just popping up for one. The only thing bad about the film was the supporting actress.
Yeah, so I've seen the Slender Man documentary, which not a great documentary, but is like a kind of interesting story about the girls who murder the other girl.
Yeah. I've seen that, and I've seen I can't remember, Hornets, Blue Hornet, something Hornet, and it was like a web series about the cult of Slender Man, and just like when it started out and. Like just when it was an internet thing, I guess, when it was still like a creepypasta and stuff, you know. And then it's one of those interesting to see a birth of like cause there's new ones, you know, there's like Siren Head and the Backrooms is getting made into a film and all these like, and I'm curious to see them, but they're never going to be good because you don't know how to make films out of them. You don't know how to adapt.
Has someone made a film about the Momo yet?
The Momo? No. Probably not. Probably.
Oh, no, Momo.
No, probably. And I guess it's just like people can't adapt things, like, or just take like the bits you like. You know, we have to be too faithful, or we have to get the like look of it. I don't know. Maybe there's a thought process there. I need to think about more about why you can't do it. But so I turned it off after like 15 minutes. So I was like, nah, you're all right. I can move on with my life and just not watch Slender Man. But anyway, no comment on the supporting actress.
It's interesting that Joey King was in Slender Man, who I think Razzie nominee Joey King, but she escapes attention in a very weak worst actress category
because he doesn't watch any of these fucking films, you know this. Like he's just
like there's a young black no-name actress. I'm just gonna nominate her.
He's went on IMDb. That's what he's done, and just who's fourth billed. That's a supporting actress. Because
whose career will take the biggest hit from me? If you search their name, who will have the top result for being my award ceremony? Then we have the late Kelly Preston for Gotti as Victoria Gotti. She's not great, not really much to say. Marcia Gray Harden, 50 Shades Free, as Grace Trevelyan Gray, which just, I think that's Jamie Dornan's mum.
Oh, you were telling me about your mum, weren't you?
No, I was maybe speaking about Mrs. Robinson.
Oh,
so Kim Basinger.
Yeah, shit, that's Kim Basinger, shit. It's all blended together. Honestly, Holmes and Watson did a number on me.
It's very weird to nominate no one from 50 Shades Freed except the director and Mr. Gray's mum.
Because he hasn't watched it. He hasn't fucking watched it. Yeah. I mean, at least Dornan put in a good performance this year, though. You know, like the leads have learned apparently, according to
Razzie Redeemer Jamie Dornan
for 50 Shades, but also for 50
and Robin
Shades.
Hood. Robin Hood and 50 Shades Freed, redeeming him for the first two films. So that brings us on to the winner. Kyle taking a big sip of water, ready for a spit take. Kellyanne Conway, Fahrenheit 11.9 as herself.
So fuck's sake. Alicia, I don't know what to say here. It applies to what I've just said ad nauseum about politicians and real life people and social commentators and political advisors or whatever she's classified as. I don't. She didn't act. So yeah, none.
It makes me wonder, like, again, is Mr. Razzie a misogynist because he's nominated two women? Like, I feel like Mike Pence probably has to be in Fahrenheit
Yeah, but he
11
probably put in a
and Death of
really
a
good
Nation.
performance, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's going to be any number of Republican ghouls. Like, if you're nominating one of them, you have to nominate all of them. I want to just see, like,
Give me
the
my own.
Mooch,
Yeah,
like Jeff,
give me
Jeff
my own
Sessions,
category.
Steve Bannon.
Give me one of those bullshit categories at the end. You know, worst Republican in a film or something. Give me something.
Yeah.
Give me that, and I'm happy. You can have your law that he's a Razzie winner.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're also taking up spots here. You're taking up too many spots here.
1/5 of your acting nominations have gone to,
Non-actors.
like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Worst screen combo: Kelly Preston and John Travolta in Gotti. So that was an actual married couple playing the Gottis. Yeah, they're not great. Whatever. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, Holmes and Watson.
Okay, not the winner though.
No.
Okay.
So if you're not giving the awards to like an actual double act who are genuinely really bad.
Yes, you wouldn't tell that they'd. Again, if you've seen this before, seen any of their work together, you would never know that they had great chemistry. It's
You'd
so
be like,
weird.
never let them work again because they do not have the juice. Like, keep those. Maybe they work with someone else. Let's try pairing one of them up with Kevin Hart and one of them up with The Rock. Maybe that'll fix things. We'll do a wife swap. But yeah, not good. And so just brace yourself because that is the winner. And we're just gonna get a bunch of like trademark
so
Razzie bullshit in between here and the winner.
This is where I got like the winner. I assume is going to be Johnny Depp and his life with Amber.
Go on. No, actually, yours is better than what he says because the next nomination is Johnny Depp and his fast-fading film career in Sherlock Gnomes. So tying in Amber Heard would have been a good move, but alas, he does not do that.
I mean, okay, well, he's not on screen with Amber Heard, so maybe I'm being wrong. Maybe I'm getting my categories wrong. I just assumed because we were talking about them being nominated randomly. He's fast fading. Like, it's also just that's a pretty shitty thing. Like, I don't think
he also had a Fantastic Beasts to come.
I don't think Depp's in the doldrums by 2018.
No.
I know he's not A-listing, but you know who is after 25 years of A-lister. You know, no one is. You know, Will Smith's not long after like After Earth and all that shit by this point.
Gemini Man.
Yeah. Like. If you're gonna shit on everyone, like John Travolta and his rapidly decreasing
John Travolta and his upcoming movie, The Fanatic.
Like you can just go on with anyone at this point. It just seems mean. I don't like ones where they just seem mean. I think I like to have a little bit of merit behind them. Like, would you have done that for Sir Laurence Olivier in shit? You know, rapidly.
No, because he wasn't an abuser, Kyle. It's fine. Or if he was an abuser, he was just an abuser in the way that we accept all artists from that era as being abuser and didn't really speak about it.
And it was before Mr. Razzie redeemed Hollywood and stopped all that nonsense that was going on. So
it was before Mr. Razzie died for the sins of Hollywood. Then we have any two actors or puppets, the Happy Time Murders. No, again, so you can have like the lowest build, like the like police like secretary who has one line and like a puppet in the background. If they're that bad, name them. Single out two.
Name them. And so it's a common thing we've come. This is lazy.
Yeah, specificity, Mr. Razzie.
Yeah. You know, you can. That's any two show dogs. You know, like no.
And the winner goes to... Do you want to guess?
I mean, I can see it on your face. So, the Trumps, Melania, and
again,
Donald.
Kyle, you're making these too legitimate. For all your think like a hack, you're not thinking enough like Mr. Razzie. These are too legitimate.
Well, you said
Donald Trump and his self-perpetuating pettiness.
What does that mean?
Like, exactly. For one of the most like repugnant individuals around, the worst thing Mr. Razzie can think to say of him is like, he's a little vain. He's a little petty.
He's a bit petty and he's not a very good actor. That's all I can say about him, you know. Everything else, bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what? Having
Like,
having him and his wife would have been good. Well, no, I can't
yeah.
even say her name. Would have been good because they don't have chemistry. They are weird together
Yeah.
when you see them on
Yeah.
screen. It
They
would
seem
make
like an
sense.
arranged marriage.
Yeah,
He looks
like
like her father. There's all sorts of weird
there's
things to
so
pick
much
on.
stuff to go on.
But
Weird.
instead, like you would be like Donald Trump and his toxic narcissism, Donald
Yeah,
Trump and his like psychotic ego, Donald Trump and anything. But
yeah.
it's like, oh, he's a little insecure. Orange Man and his hair. He's only just a step above that, to be
Mhm,
honest.
mhm. So wait, I want to see it inscribed on his Razzie when he has to send it out to Donald. Though. I want to see him actually have to put that on. Fucking hacks, eh? Like,
Rikers Penitentiary, Donald J. Trump. I mean,
mhm.
worst remake, ripoff, or sequel.
Okay, no, man.
Robin Hood goes without saying.
Mhm.
Fair enough. We've had a bunch of Robin Hoods. Yeah. The Meg, ripoff
Oh,
of Jaws.
oh yeah. So it's finally
Okay.
popped up. It's finally
Yeah.
fucking popped up.
Yeah. The
Um,
Meg's a bad movie and
it,
deserves to
it,
be mentioned before here, not least for Ruby Rose, who we've discussed.
it was one of my introductions to Ruby Rose as well. Oh boy. I mean, I know the film made 1 million billion in China, and I think it got a sequel. I could be wrong.
It's getting a sequel
It's getting a
directed
sequel.
by Ben. What's the Field in England guy? Ben Wheatley.
Oh fucking, that's a career divergence. Eh? That's what I want to do.
Someone's taking the elevator to the bottom of the
Yeah,
high
that's what I
rise.
want. I want to make my weird farty film about psychedelic mushrooms in the 1500s, and then move on to the fucking Jaws 7 as Meg 4. As yeah, okay, that's weird. Yeah, no, it deserves. I was like saying Ruby Rose. A lot of acting things could have popped up here. It is a rip off as well. It's a rip off of a rip off because you know where short films have been ripped off. We can go on
Yeah.
about them all from Jaws. There's so many, and it is quite a blatant one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
so
don't think it is. I think
no,
the only
it's
overlap it has in that there is a shark, but the
that's
Meg is Meg and
yeah,
Jaws is regular sized. So
yes,
like,
but that's what you. I guess it's a. I'm thinking of it as a rip off is what makes people come in. I only went to see it because I thought it looked like Jaws.
but
So
then you've
I'm
got
a
like
moron.
Crawl, like
Yeah,
the alligator movie, and
I
like the
count
Shallows, and like all kinds of
Anaconda,
creature features. Yeah, yeah,
Piranha.
yeah,
I think they all
yeah.
are just essentially trying to make Jaws again and catch it again. I
I
don't.
think the Meg's as much Jurassic Park as it is Jaws.
If you watch it, yes, I guess so. Yeah, maybe I just don't remember it as well as I should.
Okay,
But no, I know I'm standing by. I only went to see
okay.
it because I thought it
You're
was
fighting
Jaws.
Mr. Razzie's corner on this one, so
He still nominated it though, so I was happy.
Yeah. Then we have Death Wish, kind of discussed. Death of a Nation, remake of Hillary's America.
A remake. A remake.
It's just Mr. Razzie using remake to mean like deals with like the same concerns.
Oh, okay.
It's
No,
like Mr. Razzie probably thinks like In the Mood for Love is a remake of Brief Encounter. Like
yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Razzie just thinks like
Yeah. Okay, I
Jason Bourne is like a remake of Doctor No.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
okay,
just
yeah. I get yeah, okay.
And then the winner, Holmes and Watson. So this is maybe another weird one where we get into terms. Like I know we've just said Robin Hood, but like it's not like retelling. Like Holmes and Watson. Okay, it's not a remake because like it's not following the story of anything. Like it's loose. It's like inspired by the characters in the loosest possible sense.
Yes.
Is it a rip-off?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess what we said. It's ripping
it's
off
a
the
caption.
Sherlock Holmes IP.
It wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for like the Downey Jr. Benedict stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know
Cash in, yeah.
cash in isn't. That's what I was kind of saying with Meg. I don't know if cash in I kind of put in this category as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Something that's a bit
worst
more
rating of IP, worst
Yes,
resurrection
cynical.
of dead intellectual
Yes.
property. Yeah.
when it's a cynical, like joyless. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, I mean, it's surprised not to see 50 Shades here. It didn't pop up. So again, it must have been a good sequel. Again,
Well, don't get too hasty, because we do have another category to come.
this and no, yeah, but also Jurassic World. Like no sequels are in the sequel category, and that's pissed me off a little bit.
That's a good point, yeah.
I want and this is a year of bad sequels. Mamma Mia 2 escapes again.
Well, was Men in Black International this year?
Oh no, I think it might
Or
have been
was
the year
it the
before.
following year?
Or,
It might have been the following year, but anyway. So yeah, curious. Then we have worst screenplay. So Winchester, the Spierig brothers, and Tom Vaughan. Yeah, it's not like it's a fine screenplay. Like it's maybe like it's like despite me saying the Spierig brothers are kind of okay for direction. I feel like there's nothing that separates it on a screenplay level from like The Conjuring or anything. It's maybe just like tonally, the moments are kind of hokey, but like as far as horror movies go, like it's certainly not a notably bad screenplay.
And you don't have the Slender Man, I assume, nominated, and
No,
yeah.
of course not. Of course not.
This is what I'm saying. He's watched the.
The only
five
bad
films.
thing in the Slender Man was that young black actor. Kyle. You don't remember that?
Okay. I haven't seen Winchester. I feel fiercely defensive of it already, just because I feel like you watch it and go, it was alright. And that's not what I want in my Razzies.
If you're nominating Winchester, then you're opening the floodgates and you have to nominate a bunch of kind of crappy horror movies every year.
At October, you're fucked. You're going to have 6 winners every October.
Then we have The Happy Time Murders, Todd Berger, Story by Berger, and D. Austin Robertson. Yeah, like, that's a bad screenplay because, like, I don't know, noir, it's, like, easy to structure a noir, but instead we just get a bunch of, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Muppets fucked?
Yeah,
when, like, I don't know, the weird thing is, like, the Muppets already do fuck. Like, Kermit and Miss Piggy's relationship is so weird and bizarre, and, like, Gonzo and the Chicken, like, all the stuff that was kind of, like, innuendo and kind of left between the lines in the Muppets, they're just like, oh, what if we said it louder and made the implicit explicit? So it's just like someone too dumb to get the Muppets, essentially.
If you're just going for that sort of like Muppets fuck, then that's been done to death. If you're going for the gross out or Muppets darker, weirder, I was just going on about SNL season 1 and stuff when there were Muppets in the cast. They did that there as well when it was adult. And that's what, 1975, 76? Come on. Like, come on. And who gives a fuck? Like, no one's seen it in 2018 that gives a shit about the Muppets, like. No, come on.
Then we have Gotti, Lem Dobbs, and Leo Rossi. So this is a genuinely awful script, and you might be interested to know that Leo Rossi is known for his role as the foul-mouthed EMT Vincent Bud Scarlotti in Halloween 2 and the serial killer Turkle from Maniac Cop 2.
Okay. That's a step up, though. Like, that's a reverse Wheatley there. You're good on you. I mean, I know you're making bad movies, but you're getting to make them. So, good on you.
Death of a Nation, Dinesh D'Souza and Bruce Schooley, based on The Big Lie and Death of a Nation by D'Souza. I don't know, like, it's a tricky discussion, the extent to which documentaries have a screenplay, but, like, you don't see that at the Oscars, do you?
I don't. Like, I 100% agree. I, personally, they're not eligible. It might have some sort of, like, mapping, and you might have some
like they have a structure obviously, but like
are you right?
I didn't write down Trump says
room,
bigly.
Trump walks into room, No, it doesn't count, especially when there's no fucking like Jurassic World popping up here, which is an incoherent, stupid mess. Like legit, how do you fuck up dinosaurs and make them boring and fuck around with other shit? Like, unless it's one, like, could be wrong. I'm just assuming it's not going to pop up.
It doesn't. But let's just get on to the winner, because it's a formality. Holmes and Watson, Ethan Coen. But wait, no, what's this? 50 Shades Freed, Niall Leonard, based on a novel by E.L. James.
What the fuck? Why is all over the place here today? I backed my house on it. I honestly thought, Holmes and Watson, as we spoke about, blah blah blah, is so poorly
nailed on.
It's such a bad idea that's badly written, that has everything about it. Nothing. I could imagine the script, and other than one joke I said, nothing's good on paper. Terrible idea. Mr. Producer should be ashamed to greenlight it. What the fuck? How did it escape? And why is 50 Shades popping up now? Like, it's not worth sequel. It's not any of this other shit. But
like, for what it's worth, I don't think 50 Shades Freed is a good screenplay. And if this was tucked away down at the bottom, I would be like, okay, whatever. Kind of weird that it escapes so much.
You take out the documentary, you take out Winchester, and you pop in Holmes and Watson winner, Jurassic World nomination. Everyone's happy. We're not moaning.
No eyebrows raised, whatever. But for it to win, and for Sherlock Holmes, Holmes and Watson to escape nomination altogether, like, did he watch the movie and be like, oh, this was poor, this was poor. But
If
if you
only
look at it
someone
on
else
paper,
directed it. If only
it's
someone else directed it.
yeah.
This was a masterpiece. Fucking hell. Fucking hell.
Yeah. And then we move on. So we have the Barry L. Bumstead Award,
Oh yeah, shit. I
which,
forgot
as
about
we've
that.
discussed, Kyle likes because this is his kind of like not eligible. This is his like didn't get the qualifying release of played in a theater in LA in New
Mm-hmm.
York or whatever it takes to be eligible for an Oscar. This is essentially the direct to streaming movie,
Which I'm happy with.
which went to Billionaires Boys Club.
Just the one still, is it? There's not. I'd love
Yeah,
this to be a
just the one
category.
winner.
I'd love
Yeah,
to see
it's
more.
the Governor's Award of there you go.
Yeah, I'd love to see more in here. There'd be so much more to talk about and to go, ooh, if only this was released
Yeah,
theatrically, this could have, it would have been a great thing to jump off and talk about. All right, what the fuck one? Billionaire Boys?
Billionaire Boys Club.
That?
So it's one of those like sort of crime Scorsese ripoffs about like some young guys who start like a Ponzi scheme. Like you know how Todd Phillips made War Dogs. It's one
Mm-hmm.
of those like sub Scorsese trash, whatever.
Okay.
It's like it's fascinating because like it's kind of doing the Wolf of Wall Street, but it's kind of doing Social Network. Like I've never seen like
I can
this should have
imagine
been
it.
a ripoff for
Yeah,
sure.
I can imagine it.
Like if this was eligible, this would have been like a heavy hitter,
Mm-hmm.
not least because Kevin Spacey features in it.
Oh.
So you have Kevin Spacey and you have Ansel Elgort. This is just like pedophile, like the pedophile rehabilitation program. And you have Taron Egerton as well. So like
Okay.
he could have been Robin Hood,
Yeah, you could
Billionaires Boys Club. And like it's just so funny because they start a company and they're like, what are we gonna call it? The BBC. And so they're just saying like, oh, BBC means this, BBC means that. What does BBC stand for? And Kevin Spacey's like, BBC, like broke bitches be congregating. You're a bunch of like. It's just so funny that they're constantly like spitballing what BBC could stand for.
So like, I the only thing I have to add here is he being a dirty hypocrite? Did Death of a Nation get a theatrical run?
Yeah, those things played in the
Okay.
US because I think they made quite a bit of money.
Okay, all right. I mean, yeah, they would, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that leaves us with the Razzie Redeemer and what must be one of its early appearances.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony Pictures Animation, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
What were they? What were they nominated for before? Just
So I looked up because I was curious because Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is great,
Mhm.
but I was like, is Sony Pictures like that dreadful? And looking up, they kind of are. Like they made like 5 open seasons. They made like 3 Surfs Up. They have like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which I think is great.
Mhm.
But they have the Smurfs, they have Arthur Christmas, Pirates, and an Adventure with Scientists, I think,
okay.
and then the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Okay.
But what I think
Yeah, because it must. I
brings
thought
them
you've got to be winning or nominated surely for a Razzie. to redeem it.
so the Emoji movie is it, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah. Shit, that was. Okay.
That was like 2 years earlier, so I think that's what gets them that.
Okay.
The Transformers franchise with Bumblebee, kind of talked, Bumblebee good. Tyler Perry for Vice. Like, I don't know, it's just like Tyler Perry goes off and he does Vices, he does like Gone Girls, like no one doubts that Tyler Perry can be good when he is not being Medea.
Idea, yeah.
And like more Medeas are to come, so like you're just
Yeah.
kind of embarrassing yourself by nominating him here when there's going to be a Medea next year.
I wouldn't have thought of them either. I would have thought Adam would have won the Redeemer for Vice
Oh, interesting.
because I mean
For
he won a
Holmes and
Razzie.
Watson.
He won a Razzie this year for Holmes and Watson. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I thought he would have. Yeah, like you
yeah.
do that. Ho ho ho! We've won
Yeah.
one and you won. Yeah,
Double year, yeah.
yeah. And I'm sure. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Peter Farrelly for Green Book, which is interesting that he's coming out like because I know lots of people criticized Green Book for being like telling the like white savior storyline. But Mr. Razzie's like, no, that's a-okay for me. Liberal Mr. Razzie is like, yeah, no, this is the height of this is the height of good racial politics for me. You could arguably give Spike Lee the Razzie Redeemer for like going from Old Boy remake to Black Klansman. But no, Mr. Razzie doesn't think about that. He thinks about giving it
No,
to
and
white man Peter Farrelly.
He didn't watch Old Boy remake, so he's not.
Yeah.
Do you remember what Chris Farley Farley was deliberately won solo as well, or is he
I
brothers?
imagine I imagine he was nominated for movie 43.
Oh shit! And that's a solo as well. He's not doing that with his brother, is he?
No, I think his brother is involved. Yeah.
I don't. Blurring my lines a
Um,
little bit here.
yeah.
Your sins of your brother, and all that.
The Razzies of the brother maybe visited them, but yeah. But the winner goes to Melissa McCarthy for "Can You Ever Forgive Me?"
Oh, okay.
So you do get your like her. She
I get
was
my, I get
redeemed
my,
from her
yeah,
win earlier in the night.
yeah, for two roles. So she, three
Yeah,
roles have won her a Razzie or two Razzies this year.
yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen Can You Ever Forgive Me? Quickly, do you know him? You seen it? You love it?
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Okay.
Richard E. Grant's in it. It's about Lee Israel committing forgery, and yeah, Marielle Heller directed it. I really like that movie. I think that's really
Might
good.
check out. So I'm up. That's kind of what I was thinking earlier and saying earlier. I'm always up for our
Yeah,
different performances. Yeah. Okay. No fair play.
I don't think she deserves it for Happy Time Murders. So she's in the black for me. She's like in the positives with
Yes.
like two performances, which I kind of admire in
Okay.
some ways.
I forgot about the Redeemer Award because I didn't think it had really popped up at this point. I wish I kind of looked up a few more to see if there was like some really obvious ones.
There will be, yeah.
I'm going to give me 2 seconds before we end.
While you're looking, I do have something for you, which is the Wikipedia page for this year's Razzies has a criticism subsection,
Okay.
which it doesn't normally have, but there are some
Okay.
quite interesting little facts
Okay.
included here. On January 31st, 2019, the ceremony was accused of rigging the vote tallies for its nominees. For
Oh.
example, Jamie Dornan, 50 Shades Freed, and Kevin Spacey, Billionaires Boys Club, received enough votes for Worst Actor, but neither were included on the final nominee list.
That's
The ballot
interesting.
itself was also heavily criticised for overlooking critically panned films and the nomination and win of non acting performances for
Hmm.
documentary stock footage.
Hmm.
Despite mixed to poor reviews, the awards were criticised for nominating The Meg in the worst remake, ripoff, or sequel as a ripoff of Steven Spielberg's film Jaws, despite having nothing to do with the film besides having a shark as
Yeah.
an antagonist.
I mean, okay.
So,
I'm not getting to die on the Meg Hill. I was more. It was more the concept of killer animals, which is kind of. I know that's not the film. I know, but like, Mr. Razzie didn't watch. I was trying to rationalize it as Mr. Razzie didn't watch the Meg, and that's not why it's not popped up at all. He watched the
mhm,
trailer, and I watched the
yeah,
trailer, and that's why I went to see the Meg, because it wasn't presented as the film. You see, it was presented as fucking Jaws because obviously that's what you do when you're making shitty trailers to entice weirdos.
yeah.
So I kind of understood it because you hadn't seen it, but I mean, we must have had what Star Wars film is out this year.
None of them. Rise of Skywalker was out
Is there
in
not a Rogue
2019.
One Solo?
Oh, Solo, of course. My hated the film that like crushed me. I saw that on my birthday, and I was like so kind of like excited because I was like, oh, I love Hobie Doyle. Like this is gonna be something free and like
Hmm.
Lord and Miller. Like I was really interested to see something a bit different, and then I just saw a completely anodyne like Ron Howard, and no, that was I forgot I had a
Hmm.
really visceral where I was like, yeah, you know what? Last Jedi gave me a little bit of hope that I might enjoy Star Wars again, but Solo has extinguished those flames.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that like the sequel remake category is a bit of a mess because there's lots of I tried looking up a Redeemer and I can't be asked, but when I clicked open, I've seen the Tomb Raider remake, I've seen Ocean's 8, I've seen so many films that you're like you could have popped in or talked about and why they were unsuccessful, even if it's just for remake and ideas and sequels and stuff. Laziness, considering there's votes that you just ignore, is a very strange one to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the Hollywood Reporter article which is cited on Wikipedia here. The headline is "Technical difficulties leave some to wonder if the Razzies are rigged." And so there's a deep throat source, an insider Razzies voter who leaked the PDF of all the voting tallies, saying the guy who runs the Razzies left the ballot results open after the voting ended, um, and noting that performances that did not receive enough votes to land in the top five made it. Clearly, Mr. Razzie just picks whatever he wants. Razzie voters are paying members who expect some sort of integrity in the voting process.
The vote ends when he votes, you know.
The Hollywood Reporter contacted Mr. Razzie, who attributed the criticisms to a bad apple. He does admit, however, that the organization suffered through some technical glitches as voting came to a close. Oh, very convenient, isn't
Absolutely.
it? This is like this is pre-Lindell. I can't believe he's doing this in the open. I feel like I'm Mark Ruffalo in like a conspiracy film. I'm like, he knew. They let it happen, and he knew. These machines from China. Mr. Razzie said, "We did have technical difficulties about a day or two into the voting when a safety certificate expired that prevented us from accessing the results. It was resolved at the last moment. We were able to get a final tally that does not agree with what this person was posting. He was very disgruntled and wants to cause us trouble. If that's his agenda, he is living it out very clearly."
Fucking hypocrite. Jesus, how can you utter those words? Jesus Christ, yeah. Like, well, I mean, we've spoken about this even since the early days. It's fairly fucking obvious when you look at them. Any academy or any votes or any paid members is a fucking sham. There might be someone else. There might be a couple of people that throw in a few for him, you know. But this is Mr. Razzie's decision, pretty much all universally. Yeah. Unless it's not his fault, unless he's, you know, it's a mistake. I had a bad apple. And, oh yeah, I didn't do this. Fuck's sake.
So I have the ballot here, and I can read out some of the names for you.
Mm-hmm.
Nicolas Cage, 211, Looking Glass, Jim Carrey, Dark Crimes, Jamie Dornan, 50 Shades Freed, Keanu Reeves, Destination Wedding and Siberia, Rosario Dawson, Crystal, Anna Faris, Overboard, Joey King for Slender Man made the nomination list, Bella Thorne, I Still See You, Venom came out that year,
Okay.
and yeah, Daniel Craig for Kings, and yeah, so yeah, certainly an interesting year.
Mm-hmm. There is. There's a lot more variety and stuff than things that just. It's got such a weird narrow mind, and that apart from the odd sprinkling, yeah, because it's rigged, because it's fucking corrupt.
Well, that concludes another episode. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
If you have enjoyed listening, then you can follow us at Watching Worst on social media, where you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. And you can email us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com, where you can provide all your insider whistleblowing to the Mark Ruffalos of the Razzie world.
Please.
If you have any knowledge about conspiracies and fixing, get us there, or send us your favorite Wilhelm Screams.
Mm-hmm.
And next week, you can join us when we will be presenting another very special episode. We are joined by one of the 35 Razzie-winning screenwriters for 1994's The Flintstones movie. So Cindy Beagle will be having a chat with us about her experiences.
Might I say my favourite of the 35 now as well?
Yeah.
Definitely. At least, or in the top 5 at the very least.
So yeah, that's in the can. We had a lovely chat with her. She's got a fascinating career writing for TV sitcom royalty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's a very interesting woman.
Very good.
And yeah,
I'm very excited for you all to listen to it
Yeah.
as well. It should be really good fun. I'm looking forward to listening to it myself.
yeah. So join us next week for that, and then the following week we'll be getting back on track with another dreadful movie in store for you. So
See you
catch
then,
us then.
guys.